Yes, welcome back to the show. Shane Webcke. Been a big night, been a long show, hasn't it?
It certainly has, but to lighten it up a little bit, this week our intrepid adventurer, Alby Sandals, found himself shipwrecked in Newcastle. Let's see what he got up to.
I'm Alby Sandals, and this week I found myself shipwrecked in Newcastle, in the heart of the Hunter Valley. I had been heading for the harbour with my trusty sidekick Alan, but my ship ran aground amongst an uncharted rocky outcrop. Trekking through the wilderness, my natural survival skills led me to some local bush tucker. Unable to source a peanut neur, I settled for some wild camembert and a feral merlot. Fully gorged on traditional native foodstuffs, I set up camp in a secluded bushland. After narrowly escaping one of the primitive natives, I found refuge with some old army buddies. Ready for some fun, I found a cool spot for Alan to rest. And luckily, I hadn't run into the Newcastle Nite. Under siege, I remembered what Dad had taught me about knights. That as men of chivalry and honour, they would not attack an unarmed opponent. Again, Dad was wrong. The knight was an admirable foe. Under pressure, I channeled another great swordsman, Errol Flynn. Ooh! And it was then that I remembered the knight's weakness. He was living on past glories. Ladies and ladies, I'm Alby Sandals. Thanks, Alby. Yes.
After 80 minutes of football, what a victory to the Cronulla Sharks. They have beaten the Newcastle Knights to the tune of 26 points to 6.
I'm also joined by Kirk Gidley, and Kirk Gidley, mate, disappointing here tonight. The word I would use offensively was poor. Did you come up with something different?
Nah, spot on there. I mean, I thought we'd come here with a good attitude and our preparation was good, but I mean, our desire on the night wasn't there.
What happens, mate, if your preparation's good and you leave that dressing room, you come here onto the field and you come with that offensive plan, is there anything as captain you could put a finger on?
I mean, that's the tough part. I mean, when you do prepare well, you expect to play well, and we didn't tonight. So, I mean, that first 20 minutes was end stuff, and it probably knocked our forwards around a fair bit in that first 20 minutes. But yeah, it's disappointing after a win last week.
On the run, Kurt, is there anything you can do as captain? Can you talk to your players? It is difficult, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got to take some blame. I've got to lead by example, and that's why I'm captain. So, you know, I've got to reassess my game firstly, and then we need to talk as a team tonight, and then first thing probably tomorrow, Monday.
Yeah, we know Rick Stone will have some words to say in the dressing room as skipper. Kurt, will you say something to the boys now?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I was disappointed in my own game, and as a team, I think we were too. So we've got a bit of work to do on a shorter turnaround for Brisbane next week.
Thank you, and good luck against the Broncos.
He is brutally honest. It is a Gidley family trait, I think, knowing Dad Jeff and having known Matt for as long as I have.
Well, battlers Cronulla have won their second consecutive home match after defeating Newcastle last night. It was convincing too, 26-6, while in Penrith the Panthers defeated the Tigers.
Ricky Stuart's men had just registered their second win of the year, and he wasn't about to let anyone but his Sharks take credit for it.
Every time we win a game, the other team's in poor form, or they've just had an off night. We force them into that.
A claim the Knights could not disagree with.
They were playing with a bit more desire and a bit more passion and determination.
Returning from injury, off-season recruit Dean Collis landed the first blow before rookie winger Isaac Gordon latched onto a poor pass from Knights half Jared Mullen.
Isaac Gordon has plucked it out of the night air.
The Sharks showing no signs of the lack of confidence that has so far hampered their 2010 campaign.
What a Cronulla try!
The Knights, buoyed by the news Ben Cross has been cleared of a serious neck injury, but unsure on how to turn their season around.
You know, there's no magic formula, that's for sure.
But the Newcastle fans can cheer and can have a pretty good weekend because their side has their third win of the season, fighting back from 10 points down at half-time and scoring 18 points to nil after the break. In a year where in the previous 7 weeks they'd only managed 6 tries in their second halves. Tonight they've come up with 3 and they march away from Brisbane with a 30 points to 22 victory.
And the Bundy smooth moves. It was all Newcastle in the second half. 46-minute simple play. Tuamavave over. That got them back to within reach. 22 points to 18. Then the 62nd minute. It's Zep Taia, big step back on the inside, looking for someone. He found Seraldo, who got over. 24-22 they led then. And then later, only 4 minutes later, as a matter of fact, another error. One of 1,000 they made, the Brisbane Broncos. Cory Paterson, that was the final score. 30 points to 22.
Let's go down to Brad Fittler with our man of the match here at Suncorp.
Boys, Channel 9 man of the match. Knights back row, Zep Taia. Can you be happy with that win?
Yeah, definitely. We're happy with the way we went at second half. Like, we lapsed off. We switched off in the after the first 20, and then we just got back into it in the second half. Stoney told us, stick to the game plan they gave us, and it just worked. We just kept going in the second half.
What was the game plan then? If Stoney said, stick to the game plan, what was it?
Just basically get out there, small man, and give us back rows a run out in the back off and forwards there. Yeah.
One of the things I see is you get good assistance from your outside men. Junior Sao, Uate, they really give you a lot of relief, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty tough when you get back after, a set of 6 when they kick it, and then, Cooper, Junior, Aku, they just do the work for the first 3 tackles, and the middles get in there and have their dig, and then, we're off again, kick chase again.
All right, you get the 2 points. Here's the $1,000. Some to drink tonight. Shout the boys. Good on you, brother.
Just want to say hello to my mum and dad and my wife, Nikki, Thanks.
There's Zeb Taia.
Well done, Zebulon Taia. If you like a bit of trivia, only the 4th player in the history of first-grade football with a Christian name starting with Z. But an outstanding performance tonight. Skillful with the ball and very hard-working in defence. And Newcastle can be well pleased with their work. I think on the tape they'd like to erase probably the 20th to the 40th minute. That was a disaster. And what about the disconsolate Brisbane Broncos? These are tough times. 2 wins from 2 months of football and a game where they led by 10. So well done to the Knights, and also well done to the Eels, their win over the Bulldogs. And after the break, I'll be joined by Brad Fittler. We'll review both the matches tonight, check on the injuries. They'll try and pin down Freddie on the test side for Australia to be picked on Sunday night to take on the Kiwis. Stay with us, more to come here on Nine's Friday Night Football. Friday Night Football here on Channel 9 and here at Suncorp Stadium. We've seen the Newcastle Knights get their 3rd win of the season on a night where Parramatta have scored their 3rd win in a row. And Newcastle will leave because they've had some horrible moments here at the Suncorp Stadium over the last 4 or 5 years. But tonight, they came from behind to win. There's still a lot of room for improvement, it must be said. Gidley, Uate, Seraldo, Paterson, Tuamavave, the try scorers. Gidley 5 from 5. And for the Broncos, all those tries in the first half. Teo, Hunt, Friday, Parker 3 from 4. Folks, that's Friday Night Football. We'll see you again on Sunday.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.
Guys, we've quickly got to move, but we should just a quick word on the Knights. Obviously, they haven't been finishing off their games. Is this a bit of a monkey off the back for them?
I listened to the radio this morning. Kirk Gidley spoke. He said that the coach gave them a hard time at half-time. He gave the players a hard time, said, we're going to lift our act. We can't go down. We need to start winning games of football. We're going to be tougher on ourselves, and that's what they did.
All right, let's get some reaction from the sheds. And Gary Belcher was at Suncorp Stadium.
Well, Coote, I know sometimes in the dressing room before a game you can sense that the team's not ready, but could you smell that there was a victory on the cards?
Oh, I mean, we knew we were going to be in for a tough game, that's for sure, and we were well prepared, but
I probably would have said that last week, and we put one of our worst performances on the field. So, I mean, it's always a good challenge coming up here playing Brisbane at home, and I think the stadium brings out the best in some players. But yeah, it was a good tough win.
You got some good footy in this team, and you really opened them up the middle and found some good offloads and some gaps in the Broncos' defence. Did you pinpoint that before the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough for any team who you work over the middle, and we got off to a good start the first 20 minutes, but the second 20 minutes in the first half, they done exactly the same thing back to us. So, I mean, half-time probably coming at a good time for us, and our second half performance was a lot better, and it was good to keep them to nil.
You seem really fired up. What was the story there?
Yeah, I got relegated to the bench early on in the week and sort of took it a bit personal, and then unfortunately Cameron Dureau was a bit crook before the game, and I got to go back to start, and so I thought, well, I won't lose this opportunity to start again, so I just went out there and gave it my best.
That half-time break couldn't come soon enough. You had to somehow stop that momentum the Broncos had.
Yeah, exactly right. I think they scored like 3 or 4 tries from 3 or 4 sets, and we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot with things like that. But yeah, half-time couldn't come quick enough, and Stoney came in and gave us some good words to take back out in the second half, and we knew we could stick to the game plan and get in the arm wrestle. We were a fair chance.
Titans, you guys at home next week. That's another tough one for you.
Yeah, Mother's Day next Sunday at home. Should be a big crowd there at Newcastle, and obviously the Titans are on fire this year, so it's going to be a big game, and we're going to look to get our first back-to-back win, hopefully.
Good to see you promoting Mother's Day for the club too, mate. Are you a champion?
Yeah, mate. Love Mum. Hello, Mum.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Folau did his best to put a week of speculation behind him last night against the Knights.
Inside the 30, now inside the 20.
But he couldn't find support from his teammates.
And he goes inside the Gidley.
The lead went back and forth throughout the first half.
Lockyer, got away to Tahu. Bang, bang, bang.
Taia had plenty of bang in defence as well. It only seemed to spur the Knights on. Embarrassed by the Sharks last week, they dominated the second half, keeping Brisbane scoreless.
Taia back in field and
We were disappointed with our last week's effort, there's no doubt about that, and we needed to do something this week to give us a little bit of credit.
The 8-point win is their third of the year. Jonathan Williams for Sports Tonight.
A remarkable second-half fight back from the Knights in Brisbane, but coach Rick Stone knows there's plenty of work to do before they meet the Titans next weekend.
We're better than that, and we need to show that.
Ros Kelly, 9 News.
A stack to get through on today's Sunday footy show. Thanks for your company. Already 6 games played in round 8 of the Telstra Premiership. And of course this afternoon, or this evening, the first representative sides will be chosen. City Country to be played in Port Macquarie next Friday night. And on the same evening, we'll be going down to Melbourne for the first test match as well. The Kangaroos, the Australian side, up against the New Zealand Kiwis. Looking forward to that. Joining me on the panel this morning, Brad Fittler, Andrew Johns, Luke Bird, a late withdrawal, but good enough to come down the F3. A man who had a very difficult 2009, but playing some great football. In 2010, Newcastle Knights back rower, Cory Paterson. Thanks for joining us, Cory.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Mate, you look fit and you look like you're really enjoying your football again.
Yeah, mate, I've got the love back and I'm really enjoying playing this year.
Now, your campaign, of course, started early with the All-Stars game. You came up against a teammate, Kirk Gidley. Now, when you hit him and he stayed down, did you think to yourself, what have I done here?
Yeah, I was in a bit of shock, mate. Gids doesn't really get injured that much, and when he did, I was a bit worried. And lucky enough, it wasn't me that actually injured him, and I'm just glad he's back playing footy for us now.
I actually came up and spoke to you on the bench, and that's the first thing you said. You were white as a ghost.
Yeah, mate, I thought I'd injured our captain.
I said, don't worry, he deserved it.
No, he didn't deserve it, and it was an unfortunate injury, but lucky it wasn't me that did it to him.
Yeah.
OK, well, we'll talk about
if you believe that.
Good win on Brisbane, against Brisbane on Friday night in just a moment. We'll all have a chat in a moment. Brisbane on Friday night. At home at Suncorp Stadium up against the Newcastle Knights in a very unusual game, this one. The Newcastle Knights got away to a 12-0 lead, then 4 tries in 11 minutes, put the home side back in front 22-12 at the break, and 18 unanswered points from the Knights second half got them home. In a game, Cory, that I think was really important for your football team, especially on the back of what we'd seen from you the previous week against Cronulla.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. We didn't play too crash shot against Cronulla. We were pretty ordinary, actually, and it was a bit embarrassing. So we need to go up to Brisbane and really give it a fair shake. That 15-minute bit of a brain explosion by all those boys wasn't good enough, and it's something we need to really work on, is our consistency throughout the whole 80 minutes.
I noticed the forwards were a lot more, I use this word, committed. Was that something... Did the forwards get together during the week to make a pack?
Yeah, we did, mate. We got together the night before and just said, look, a lot of games are won through the middle of the ruck, and for us forwards to really stand up and try and dominate their forwards was what was going to go a long way to us winning the game.
I thought in the second half, we'll get to the second half in a sec, we just showed some really feeble defence here. There's a situation here, you're on line defence. Have you spoken about your on line defence?
Yeah, mate, some of that stuff was pretty ordinary, and I think it's, you know, when you don't have the ball for 6 or 7 sets and a lot of possession goes to the other team, it's hard to defend, but some of that stuff's pretty ordinary and it's stuff we have to really work on.
I think that's been one of the outstanding features or noticeable features of this season is the fact that when the momentum changes, it's so hard to stop.
Doesn't it change?
And it's happening in so many games and with these big comebacks and it's, you know, that's the difficulty as Cory scores there, is actually being able to put that stoppage to the opposition coming at you, and fortunately for the Knights, I think half-time came just at the right time for them. They're the try scorers. Uate, Gidley, Chumavave, Serraldo and Paterson got tries. Bentia got a double, Thaiday and Hunt. Kurt Gidley back in the side now. You lost 4 straight since you've had him back. I know Cronulla wasn't great, but you've won 2 out of 3. Important to have this for this Newcastle side to have Gidley on the line-up, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right, mate. He brings so much more than just his football ability. He brings leadership and talk, and especially in fullback, you need a good fullback these days to organise the side from the back of the field. So, no, he's great to have in our side, and he's definitely a value member.
Just what did Rick Stone have to stay at half-time?
Mate, it was just more or less asking us if we believe we can win it or not, and just saying, you know, the points are there in us. We can fix our defence and play for the whole 40 minutes instead of, you know, 25, 30 minutes. And if we held onto the ball and grinded out our sets and things like that, well, then we're a fair chance, and we all knew we could win it if we believed in ourselves.
OK, well, 2 valuable points taken by the Newcastle Knights. Brisbane, they're in trouble. They've only had 2 wins from 8 starts. I know that Darren Lockry's saying, look, it's a young team. We're taking time to come to terms with first grade, but going to be a lot of work to do second half if they're going to continue their great finals record. And they do keep coming, our Brut big hits, and so does your chance to win $500 and the gift back from our wonderful sponsors here on the Sunday Footy Show. And here are the choices coming out of round 7.
Marked by Menegillo. Oh, good hit from the 11, Costigan.
Yeah, it's a Brut big hit, all right. You'll be checking your fillings and your teeth after that one, Anthony Menegillo.
Smith from Crossfield, he travels. The inside runner is Gallen. He came off the shoulder of Cory Paterson. Hornby. Oh, Green has been absolutely squashed by Jason Ryle.
Yeah, another 3 beauties there. A, Neville Costigan. B, Cory Paterson. We didn't know he was coming into late, so it's coincidence. And C, Jason Riles. And there are the numbers to SMS or to telephone to be a part of this great competition. We thank Brut once again. $500 and a Brut gift back could be coming your way. And last week's winner was C, Tony Williams and Lisa Madison.
From not a big scalp, is it?
I reckon you would have been doing some squealing finching.
B, just keep thinking B. So that's the Brut Big Hits competition, and also have some fun with the Dream Team, the Toyota Dream Team on NRL.com. I also want to thank Cory Paterson for 49 points this week.
My pleasure, mate.
5 from Jonathan Thurston, 49 from Cory Paterson. That puts things in perspective. Cory, thank you very much for coming in. Continued success with the Newcastle Knights. I know you've got the Titans next week, so good luck for the rest of the season. Joey, Freddie, thanks for your company this morning. And don't forget next week the Test match as well. We've spoken a fair bit about it today. Friday, 7:30 p.m. live. You will see that from Amy Park in Melbourne. And that'll be followed by the City Country fixture. That is up at Port Macquarie. That's it for the Footy Show. Thank you, guys. Stick around now. The Sunday roast coming your way.
Broncos v Knights Friday night, one of the weirdest games of football you'll ever see. And now with the benefit of hindsight, maybe the first minute of play set up the weirdness of the night. Scotty Dureau's first kick. Where does this scale in 102 years of rugby league? For your first kick of the night.
Come off his knee.
He could have missed it, and then he looks at his hand. I don't know whether the hand was the problem there. I think it was the boot.
When you do a bad golf slice or something, oh, jeez, it's done heavy.
My back.
It is sad, though, when you would have... Scott Dureau would have kicked the ball 1 million times in his life. Yeah.
Good kicker
too. First minute of a game where he's been called in to replace Ben Rogers, Suncorp Stadium, 25,000 fans. Bounce off his shin. Yeah. Now, Denon Kemp, courageous, coming back from 3 broken ribs and a punctured lung.
Welcome
came back early.
Welcome back.
70th minute, dead set. Ben Cross decided to play doctor and examine them.
If there's one bloke you don't want to run into after having a punctured lung and 3 broken ribs, it's Sergeant Slaughter. Bang. Oh, my goodness. He's a tough kid down in Kent, but even the toughest under that weight and size would struggle. He's a big man, Ben Cross.
Well, he got back up, Den and Kemp, but the Broncos are well and truly down, folks.
Mate, now, last Friday night, Webby, did you like the game? Knights versus Broncos. I loved it. I thought it was just about the game of the season.
It was an interesting contest. I don't know that the right side won, but anyway, that's how it is.
Now, do you remember that little wager we had last week? Can you remember that?
The little joke we had on the show. I recall, but that was all in jest, sure.
Well, jest. Let's just refresh Shane's mind. Mate, you sound confident, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If the Broncos beat my Knights, I will wear a Brisbane Broncos jersey all next week, including on the show live. And if the Newcastle Knights cause an upset and beat your Brisbane Broncos, I want to go up to Brisbane, to your Queensland pub, and paint it red and blue.
I don't mind, and I accept.
I don't mind, and I'll accept were the words. Now, yes, so this Sunday, this show is going to go up to Leyburn to paint Shane's pub a glorious red and blue, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. What? I can't wait. I can't wait to just paint that brickwork.
Isn't it lovely, though?
Now, I call on all Newcastle Knights fans and people that just don't like Shane Webcke to get there with a paintbrush. Have a good time. We're going to have sausage sizzles. Don Kirk's going to be there. And Shane Webcke's going to dress up as a clown and entertain all the kids. It's just going to be a great day. So everybody invited this Sunday at Leyburn. Get there.
Yeah, lovely. It's wonderful. Absolutely outstanding. Come and see a grown man cry. Anyway, let's move along from that.
Got another special guest. Adam MacDougall joins us. Welcome, Adam. Great to see you. What's going on?
Not a lot, mate.
Got the busted wing. The busted wing there. How long before you're back?
A couple more weeks. I broke my thumb playing against Penrith, and got a couple of pins in it, and just a couple more weeks now.
You've been watching the Knights. That was a very good win last week up there in Brisbane.
Yeah, we definitely need to get back on the winning way, and obviously last weekend, great win against the Broncos, and great morale boost, and tough win up there, and it was good to see the boys bounce back.
It's been a funny season for the Knights. Awful start to the season with the off-field stuff, but you've won some games that you wouldn't have thought you've won. You've lost like sides you should have beaten, the Sharks, for example. I mean, that's obviously an attitude thing.
The most disappointing thing for us this year has been our our home record, I should say. Last year we didn't go too well away, but this year we've got some great victories. The last one obviously against Brisbane, but last year we didn't nearly drop a game the whole year at home, and this year we've dropped some real easy games.
Must be nice having Simo back.
Yeah, it's great to have Simo back and Gids, and obviously our season's been very disrupted. It's well noted. We've lost a couple of forwards at the start of the year, and unfortunately we haven't been able to fill the void. A couple of them guys left, and having injuries right across the board's really hurt us this year.
I bumped Rick Stone on the field at Suncorp Stadium last Friday night. Myself and Wally and Freddie were down on the sideline doing something, and he's a pretty cool character. He's just lapping it up and looking around and having a good time.
The shirt out, he was cruising.
Yeah, he was good. He's obviously a good man.
Yeah, no, the boys love Stoney, and it's great when you've got a coach that you really want to play for and you really like. But he certainly knows when to crack the whip, and he's no soft touch at the same time. But calls a spade, and the boys really like him, and he's doing a great job.
You played in plenty of those city country games. What's it like? You were very proud to wear the country jumper.
Yeah. Well, it's a huge opportunity for these guys, particularly now that they've gone back to the old format, where it is really a trial for State of Origin. So. There's a lot on the line out there this Friday night, and I'm sure that the country boys are very proud, and I don't know what it's like to be playing for City, but I know that they're going to be fired up, the country boys, and they're going to be looking for a great win and hopefully impress them selectors.
Mate, just on the City country game, surely we can find a better night to have it than a Friday night, the same night as a test match, surely.
Well, I've got the perfect night. The perfect night would be, to my mind, tonight, where we have the game of rugby league set live at 7:30. Wherever it is in the country, and follow straight into the footy show. And we can talk about the game, whatever, do interviews. It seems simple to me, Thursday night.
You look at the quality of player that are on display there, and it's a genuine State of Origin trial. Yeah. Genuine State of Origin trial.
Did you actually think of it as that when you played in those sort of games?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Particularly, at the end there we had Craig Bellamy as our coach, and
pretty fiery character, and he certainly laid it on the line for us, and every single player that was playing that night realised that there was Blues jerseys up for grabs.
You must be happy with the countryside. Well, it's got some big names.
Great
Lafayette,
side.
Cray, Kamali, Ennis.
I think for me, you know, the
It's a good
spine of the
side.
side, the number 1, the 6, the 7, and, you know, the bookends, I think it's a very impressive side, and, you know, in key positions they've got a lot of experience, and I think that's where they've definitely got the edge over the City side, who in all fairness in their halves are very inexperienced, and even the number 1 is a great player, Coote, but first taste of rep footy.
I always found, but it's a bit like the State of Origin. State of Origin's designed for Queensland, wasn't it? This game's designed for country. So country always going a bit more emotional than the City, and I think City have had a bit of luck. They've won the last 3 or 2 on a draw. For the reason they go out there, it's less complicated and they just play their footy.
Just on the selections, I know we just had it up there. What are they doing picking Michael Jennings on the wing in the City side? Surely he deserves to be in the centres. If
The way
he's
he's
very
playing,
sure,
yeah.
well, he's in the top 4 centres in the game.
He was in the
surely.
Australian side last year.
He
So he's
was.
gone from there to the wing of the City. I can't understand.
I can't believe Ben Cray's not in the Australian side, to be honest. He's been playing great footy for the
Yeah.
Dragons, and
Yeah.
there he is in the countryside.
He's
But
the best back row in the comp. isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. He's outstanding.
He's flying.
And he's got red hair. I mean, you can't beat him. And the Knights and the Titans. Titans are... I asked you before, and you think the Titans are the team to beat in the comp.
Yeah.
And
I reckon they show the last 4 weeks or 3 weeks. Melbourne, Saints, Penrith, and they played someone else. Oh, Manly at Brookvale. And they were just tougher. They were just tougher than the other team. I thought fantastic. Saints got their cash up there, but I thought 3 out of 4 against those sides was outstanding.
That was the Titans' worst game of the year when they played the Saints.
Yeah.
But, you know,
They're back, right?
it was a pretty close game last year, wasn't it? There was a bit of controversy at the end with a Scott Prince disallowed try.
Yeah, well, styles make fights, and, you know, as the record indicates, the last 4 games we've got away 3 victories against the Titans, so we match up really well against them, and, you know, we're very confident back at home. We've got a great record, and we're hoping to go out there this weekend and get our winning record back on track at home.
Adam, stay with us, mate. We've got plenty more of the show to come after this break. Lots of things happening on the Footy Show. We'll see you in just a sec. If you were playing these days, Ned, seriously, I mean, you wouldn't last more than 2 games. You'd have 20 off the field and 2 on it.
Well,
you're a bit
that would be
fiery.
an improvement on what I had when I was playing.
Did you actually really have a really short fuse?
I played a lot of footy, but
the referees were against him.
The
referees just didn't understand me.
Yeah. And your dad played with which one?
With me.
Yeah, with Noel, playing a couple of grand finals with Noel.
Gil MacDougall.
Yeah. How'd he go? Did he go all right, Gil?
He was a good player. He was about as good as Bozo, I reckon. He was that style of player. He could stop you, push you away. Oh, yeah, great player, Gil MacDougall, mate. And he's got a few good boys there too that have brought it out.
Yeah, he never really talks about his playing days, the footy side, but he always talks about the great blokes.
Yeah.
And you know, the things that these guys are doing now just exemplifies, you know, the spirit and the bonds you form playing this game, which is tremendous to see, isn't it? So.
Well, they do have a couple of players on the sideline, the Newcastle Knights. Of course, Adam MacDougall broke his thumb here against Penrith on Easter Monday. And one player that hasn't played for them all year is James McManus. He played a heap of games in a row. He got the State of Origin selection for New South Wales. But since then, he's had a very serious foot injury. He's downstairs with Renee Gardner.
Thanks very much, Mark. James McManus has taken some time out of the sheds today to come and have a chat to us. James, you had 59 consecutive games, played every minute of that, and now by the time you're going to get back on the field, you're going to almost have a whole year off. That must be pretty frustrating for you.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty frustrating. I guess I was sort of nearly back for round 3, and that's sort of helped me out a bit. But I haven't missed that much football in terms of training and things like that. But I had a setback at round 3, and it's been frustrating the last few weeks. Yeah, we haven't won too many games in our first sort of 8, so it'd be great to get back on the park and help the team out.
So you've got a Jones fracture in your foot. How much longer have we got to go before you're back on the paddock?
I was sort of looking at probably after the bye. I started running this week and all signs are positive, so I'll just gradually build it up, get the strength and the mobility back in the foot, and hopefully after the bye it should be right to go.
Now, you've had a couple of players in the Newcastle Knights that have had some long-term injuries. Have they given you any advice to get through this?
Oh, yeah, they've definitely been helping me out. I guess I spent the back end of last year with Dan Toller, who had a pretty bad injury in his kneecap, missed most of last season. So it's we've had a few guys that have been, missed out on a few things, but I guess it's just about staying positive and doing everything I can to make sure that when I come back, I'm 100% and ready to play NRL.
Cool, and obviously the backs have been playing pretty well in your absence, and you guys had a good win against the Broncos last week. What do the guys have to do to continue that today?
I think we've just got to make sure that we get right into the grind with these guys, don't make any mistakes and don't give away cheap penalties. I think, Gold Coast are going to be good at capitalising on any mistakes we make. So if we get right in the grind and put them under the pump a little bit, I think we'll get some joy.
Excellent. Thanks very much, James.
James McManus there with Renee Garth. Now, early in the week, the Newcastle Knights were favourite. The money has come from the Titans, which is not unsurprising considering their place on the ladder. They've never won here in Newcastle, and I think that's a little bit more reflective of the difference between the two teams. The Titans now, on game day, are favourite thanks to TAB Sportsbet.
Yeah, probably it's hard to split these two teams, but I guess given that Steve Simpson's out, I guess that will that's a positive for the Titans or a tough call for the Newcastle Knights. So yeah, perhaps deservedly favourites. I don't think there'll be much in it.
The Gold Coast 38, Newcastle 36. What a game.
It is hard to believe the Knights played so well in patches, but somehow they let that slip. Yeah, it's so poorly in their own end of the field. They were just such a wonderful attacking team when they get down the other end, but coming out of their own zone, it was awful. And the Titans themselves put together 38 points, conjured up some great tries, but at times their defence was so poor that you thought the Knights were going to score 50.
7 tries to 6 it was.
That point of the game, the Knights were up by 8 points and Ben Cross was penalised, playing the football right on the Titans. They were going over for a try. That's where it all changed.
Got Kirk Gidley over there. Well, Kurt, disappointing. Too many errors today.
Oh, yeah. Disappointing, mate. I mean, that's really disappointing for our fans, mate. Yeah. It's just, it's been a hot and cold year and we need to get it sorted out.
Yeah, you'd like to think if you score 36 points, you should be winning a game.
Oh, mate, yeah, defensively, it's not real flash either when there's that many points scored in a game. Yeah, we're just making it hard for ourselves.
I agree with you, mate. Well done. Thanks very much.
They did make it hard for themselves today, Newcastle. No question about that. A break and back to wrap up.
Newcastle scored 36 points today and still lost. Gold Coast and the Knights putting on a 13-try spectacle where the Titans were pushed all the way.
Quinton Torpey started the scoring just 8 minutes in.
Torpey's over, gets it down the Gold Coast.
But it was Newcastle dominating the first half.
Into space, terrific try, Lalia.
They hit the lead when Dureau found a flying Uate on the right wing.
Down the touchline, Gidley on his inside. Prince is there, Gidley, Prince, Gidley wins and Gidley scores.
They went further in front when Dureau was in the right place at the right time, but through fancy footwork.
Gidley to beat, he beats him, and Preston Campbell.
And some bullet passing, the Titans were back to within 4 by the break.
Long ball, Prince, LaFranchi runs on the gap, the ball on the outside to Timana.
It was more of the same when they returned. First the Titans, then a double reply from the Knights.
Here comes the chase. Junior Sowers on the inside and Preston Campbell comes up with a tackle but doesn't stop him, and Coote.
Tackling seemingly not on the agenda and through tries to Torpey.
He's over.
Then Greg Bird. The Titans looked like they'd secured the points, only for Newcastle to give them a late scare.
Uate for the corner. Campbell to beat.
Their last dip, a non-event.
What a letdown.
Titans holding on by 2. Paul Cochran for Sports Tonight.
To take a look at that for a scoreboard. If it's any consolation for the Knights, their 36 points equals the highest score ever by a losing side.
A scoreline like that is pretty embarrassing. And we've had a fair few points scored against us, and we need to learn how to defend those errors.
We've got to take some responsibility for some fundamental mistakes. There's no doubt about that.
It's good to know that we can play badly and come away with the 2 points in the end, I guess. You don't want to be doing that every week.
There was a contentious penalty in the 57th minute, contentious or rubbish, any way you like to look at it. The Knights were up by 8 points at this stage. Ben Cross was penalised for not playing the ball with balance and control. Well, as you can see there, he clearly gets to his feet.
You don't need balance and control.
He gets to his feet, plays it with his foot, and friend is in the play of the ball area, trips over the play of the ball area. They would have scored there and would have taken a 14-point lead. So obviously the Newcastle Knights have every reason to be filthy about that. Let's hear what their coach had to say after the game, Rick Stone.
You know, in my opinion, it was the biggest influence of a referee's decision I've seen in a long time, and it's a poor one. You know, I'm in there chastising my players about some of the poor decisions, and when that referee has a look at that particular decision, there's no doubt he will be disappointed in his decision and could see that it was 100% wrong. And it made the difference in the game, and you can write as much as you want because it was a difference in the game.
I don't think many people would disagree with that. Ben Cummins was the head referee yesterday. Alan Shortall made the call from the pocket, though. But I think we're all in agreement that was a dud call.
Call of what? To say that
that it was an incorrect play of the ball.
Well, the thing is that Nathan Friend was on the ground and Cross got up and got up to his feet to play the football and tripped over a friend who was on the ground in the play the ball area anyway. So, you know, I thought it was a wrong call. Now, what the referee said was that he didn't have balance. Well, I've seen plenty of players get to their feet, play the ball quickly and then flop over after that.
He wasn't on a trapeze or anything. He didn't need balance to play the ball. Actually, I've got to say, that is the best play of the ball I saw in the whole game.
Quick play of the ball.
He touched the ball with his foot. I thought, well, that'll do me.
So, yeah, okay, let's go. I'm ready. So, mate, what'd you do over the weekend? Anything exciting?
I tell you, me first.
Yeah.
I tell you what I did. I went to Queensland on Sunday, had a great time up there, and painted some big ugly bloke's pub red and blue. And seriously, it was just about the best day of my life. Absolutely brilliant. Up at Leyburn, and the people were fantastic. It was a big improvement on the pub.
Yeah, from your perspective only.
It was a terrific day, and you're going to see that a little bit later, how we followed through the vet and just desecrated Webcke's pub. So look forward to that.
Yeah. Can't wait to relive that horror.
Now it's time for the My Hometown competition, and this week it's the Knights, and their captain Kirk Gidley takes us to his Newcastle.
Hi, I'm Kirk Gidley, and welcome to my hometown, Newcastle. Newcastle's a big city, but it's still a country town at heart. Let me show you around my way. There's Newcastle and Oldcastle. There's beaches to the left, there's beaches to the right, and you always bump into someone you know. Hey, hi-ho!
Hey, Gidley.
We have the largest coal exporting harbour in the world. But there's also culture, cafes, and five-star cuisine right on your doorstep. And the great thing is, you can always get a park. How good's this? You can't beat it. Pay us a visit here in Newcastle. You might even meet a knight in shining armour and stay forever.
Well, anyway, as much as it pains me to say it, this week the bet I had with Matty over the Broncos Knights game was paid off. My beloved hotel in Leyburn was, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it was painted blue and red.
Well, here we are at the Royal Hotel at Leyburn, Webcke's pub. We've made it up here, and everyone's pumped and ready to go. We've got Harry Harbour, we've got Don Kirk, we've got a Shane Webcke impersonator, and Webcke, look at this. Here you go, son, mate. What a great day.
It's the worst day of my life.
Come on, let's go, guys. Let's do it. Look at that. The pub looks better already. Not only are we going to paint it, we're going to cover it in nice memorabilia.
Oh, nothing good about it. Nothing good.
God. It's like I'm in Wolf Creek or something. What sort of drongo would own a pub out here? $5 for a photo.
Hello, Don. Shane Webcke, mate. Welcome to my pub.
Just parched. Just get me a drink, one of those local ones, 3X or something.
Oh, fair enough.
Just do it.
Yeah, good.
I want to go that way. Come out here, mate. I'm going to buy you a drink. Here we go. Gardening out the back.
Paterson. They've even painted the police car. Why don't they paint the pub and the shop and everything else? Just paint the whole town. I love it.
Well, if I'm going to paint Webbio's pub, I've got to mix the paint, don't I? Hey, so get down. I'll tell you what, those paint fumes are pretty strong. Hey, the old Wah-Wah-Nee was a good band back in the old day. Funky town.
Who wants to see me dance? Yeah! Come on! Here you can do too. Won't you take me to Funky Town? Fun. Who wants to see me stage dive? They really love me.
Got broken. Oh, God. Oh, I can see chocolate butterflies, Peter. I'm out of here. Get out. Don! Come back, mate, please. Come back. Get. Come on.
Amy was a girl on the side of the road, and I picked her up and away we go.
There we go, and it was a great day. Big thank you to Steve from Science Australia and to Mitre 10 for helping us out. It was a terrific day. I want to thank Shane Webcke, congratulate him on a great pub. It is a terrific pub up there. And, well, mostly I want to give a big thank you to the people of Leyburn. They are a fantastic community, great people up there. Thanks for being great sports, making us feel welcome.
Matty, didn't also Shane say tomorrow drinks are on the house?
Hey, whoa!
Right off from
Mate, there's only one bloke who likes money more than you, and that's this bloke. I rang him to say, look, was everything okay? He said, oh, we've got to paint it more. He said we get so much money over the bar. So there we go. But thank you to the people of Leyburn. Thanks, Webby. Thank you, Jason Stevens. We'll see you more after the break.
And, of course, the Newcastle Knights over the Roosters. Brian Smith hammered the referees after the game, but seriously, I know he'd be disappointed, but he's got to look at his team. Monday night's game, I was there for that Cowboys game. They're not in great form right at the minute, are the Chooks. Now, injuries. We are focused on Newcastle Knights here. Isaac De Gois, it is a rib cartilage injury. It's one of those injuries, as all you guys know, very, very painful, but hopefully won't keep him out for too long. That is Isaac De Gois, hugely talented hooker for the Newcastle Knights. The other injury, and this is a lot worse, Irvan Tuamavave. It looks like a ruptured Achilles, and he'd be out for the year if these scans come up the way they think they're going to come up. A nasty injury for him. On the Shannon McDonald front, that is a knee problem. A cartilage, like a meniscus style of injury. Only a couple of weeks, hopefully, but he'll need the scan.
We'll take a break now. We'll come back and have a look how the Storm travelled to the national capital with success, and an exciting game on the Central Coast with the Newcastle Knights coming up with a very brave performance and some great tries.
Saturday Wrap brought to you by the all-new Still Farm Boss. Still, time to get serious.
Another blow for the injury-ravaged Newcastle. Junior Sal, a late withdrawal for the Roosters clash in Gosford. That came on top of a reshuffle that saw captain Kirk Gidley move to halfback and Shona MacDougall brought in at fullback. That didn't stop the Knights' determination.
A skip, a hop, and a try for the big winger.
Gidley's impressive flick pass setting up Newcastle's second when McDonald crossed over.
Gidley flicks it out the back, and Shannon McDonald will score a brilliant Newcastle Knights try.
Mitch Orbison finding space to get the Roosters on the board, courtesy of a great ball from Todd Carney.
Lovely ball for Mitch Orbison.
And when a flying Braithen Astor caught Carney's bomb, the scores were tied at 12-all. Uate emerging as the knight in shining armour, scoring one of the fastest tries from a restart in NRL history.
By Uate, and Akuila goes flying, will get it across the line and score for Newcastle. Off the kick-off, if you don't mind. What a catch and what a run.
The rampaging winger following that up with a treble early in the second. A great offload from Nate Miles saw Anthony Minicello cut the deficit.
Gives it to Miles. Great ball. Minicello for the line.
But it was an Novocastrians crowing when Ben Rogers set up Cooper Vuna.
Inside Rogers. Rubbers. A chance for Cooper Vuna.
Not once, but twice.
Now Rogers kicking in behind them. Vuna coming like a train. Got a room service bounce.
The Knights posting a 16-point triumph.
Yeah, I mentioned the word brave earlier, but at the end of the game, the Knights had one fit player on their interchange bench. Scoreline 34-18 with Uate getting a hat-trick and Vuna, the other winger, getting a double in a very important win at Blue Tongue Stadium for the Newcastle team. Lost Junior S.O.O in the warm-up, no Jared Mullen there, so they really played some good football to get that 2 points. Now, the feature there was Uate's performance. I know that you spoke about him possibly 2 seasons ago, saying, look, watch this young bloke come through, he's going to be something special. We're starting to see that.
Well, I think my time in rugby league, one of the best athletes I've seen. Over 40 metres, he holds the records at Newcastle for the sprinting. But you look at the size of the guy, he's got a big backside on him, big legs.
You love that, don't you?
A big backside.
Loves an engine.
And he's just so powerful. I don't know, Mick, you've played against him. It must be a headache to tackle.
Yeah, he's got great footwork, he's strong, he's quick, and you know, he's a great finisher, as you saw there.
We didn't see the highlights, but he ran over 3 or 4 blokes he did and splattered on the way coming, bringing the ball out of trouble.
And he's a player the Knights need. A superstar on the outside to bring people through the gates, you know, to watch him play.
Now, obviously, the feature of this game, or the talk up before it, was the fact that Brian Smith, formerly coach of Newcastle, going down. The Roosters, I saw them play against North Queensland on Monday night. They were awful. They got back into the game after trailing by 12 here, but really I didn't think they were ever that much.
I thought at times they got back to 12 all, I think, and then they looked like they were in the game, but I thought Newcastle just were a bit better. They were a bit better on the night.
Freddie, what about Mitch Orbison's transition from the centres? He played a bit off the bench. He's doing well in the back row this year.
He's just a wonderful player. He's just one of those blokes. Whether his position is in as a centre or a back row or a lock, I don't know what it is, but he's just one of those blokes you enjoy having in your team. You saw the beautiful line to score that try, like bravery and you know, and then skill to be able to sort of come off that left foot. That was just a wonderful try.
As a ball player, you love having blokes coming onto the ball.
All right, we went down to the sheds after this one to get the reaction.
It was a good performance by the whole team, I guess. Some great individual performances, but I mean, I think the real positive thing was our defence tonight, which is what every team wants, a good defensive line.
You know, we had such a good start of the season, and you can feel it in the places. You know, I think the bye's coming at a good time for us. There's a few heads that have dropped around here at the moment, and last few weeks our confidence is, you know, you can see on the field it's been struggling a little bit. So a lot of hard work to do, but still got a lot of confidence in the team, what we can do this year, and it's important that the first game after the bye.
Well, obviously, we copped a bit last week, a bit of criticism over our defence, so which a little bit of it was warranted, I think. So yeah, we dug a little bit deeper in that area tonight, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come.
I think the fact that we fought our way back into the game after a really bad start pleased me, but obviously when you then get back to where we were probably in a position to win it and didn't, it hurts a bit.
We could definitely build on that, and what we showed tonight was something that I think every coach is looking for in their footy team every week. So hopefully we can build on that and go forward and have some more performances that have those sort of qualities in them.
Yeah, well done to Rick Stone and his boys.
Now, talk about the Knights last night. We've had a weird season because we've wrapped the Knights, and other weeks we've been terribly critical of Newcastle. Today we can wrap them again. Thought they were pretty good. And what about their wingers? Akuila, Uate and Cooper Vuna. Sensational. I don't know whether there's 2 wingers as a combination who run the ball harder than these 2 guys.
Oh. Well, they're straight out of the Joe Rokokoko plays a bit of union. What's Noah Nandriku? Yeah. You know, Uate's a Fijian.
That's correct.
And they have an uncanny knack of
being able to knock blokes over when they run the ball.
Oh, can they pick him? Can New South Wales pick him? Oh, they don't need a right winger, by the way, but could they pick him?
Well, it's a grey area.
Oh,
I think you'll find if you had Jeff Carr sitting here today, they'd say, well, he pledged his allegiance to Fiji. Even though Jared Hayne played for Fiji, Uate can't play for country last week. It's a grey area, TK. We make an absolute mess of it. He should be eligible. He should be able to play for a fledgling nation and come back and play for whatever in the National Rugby
I'm a
League.
big believer in the short kick-off. This came directly after a brilliant try by Braithen Aston.
That was a fluke.
The short kick-off, it may well have been a fluke, but it works. When they kick deep, they get the ball back to the 20 anyway. Why isn't it worth risking short kick-offs more often?
I'm prepared to say he miskicked it.
He may well have.
I reckon he miskicked.
That was the long short kick-off, wasn't it?
If you watch the head-on shot, when Cory Paterson hits the ball, he shakes his head because he miskicked it.
Exactly.
He miskicked it.
Yes.
Can't we bring back the days of Russell Mullins and the great Warren Boland leaping high on the wings for the Magpies?
Field position's too vital.
But they get back to the 20 anyway, MG.
No, you get back to the 10 these days on a good defence. A rushing defence stops them at the 10.
I'd average it.
What about the...
Anyway, 5 tries between those two wingers. If you missed the match last night, 3 to Uate and 2 to Cooper, outstanding performance. Great combination.
Just on the kick, I'd like to see more kicks where, you know, like the NFL, when they do an onside kick, when it bobbles around and you try and... I'd like to see more of them in rugby league.
This is from the MG Ideas.
Well, it's just from
segment.
Space Kid.
You've just thrown one out there. Just talking about
this game also through.
Gus. He's thinking about it.
I love it when
He's
you
trying
start
to
coaching. I think it's terrific.
I know coaches do this. This was one of the great.
The bobbling kick-off. Well, we'll have to put
pizzazz.
that on.
MG brings pizzazz. This is our 150th show, folks, and Matty Johns was a great contributor to the program. But MG, you now feel everything.
I can
feel
see
all roles
16
on
NRL coaches saying the bobbling kick-off. I like that. Bobbles along.
You've got to be perpendicular with the line, but
Heritage round, we could have pizzazz round, where they try things like that.
One of the great throw-offs too of all time in the media conference after this, I thought the Roosters were pretty ordinary. In fact, they were definitely ordinary last night. Newcastle and Patches were quite brilliant, as we just witnessed on those highlights. Brian Smith all of a sudden launched into the 2-referee system from the blue, just forgetting about how badly the Roosters played for virtually the entire 80 minutes of the game, and just... I reckon the referees in the last 3 weeks have been so much better with the senior referee back in...
Would you like to repeat his quote that he said about Gavin Badger being as useful as a...
Tits on a ball.
Tits on a ball.
Yeah.
All right.
But where did it come from? I mean...
That saying?
Refs get way too much blame.
Where did that say? I'll dial up Confucius.
Well, he grew up on a dairy farm.
Where did that come from, Confucius? Tits on a ball.
But isn't that just wallpapering over the cracks for the Roosters, Gus? I mean, they were bad.
Yeah,
Gus loves his show.
It's an old coach's ploy.
I'm launching the 2-referee system, which everyone's really happy with.
I'd rather be sitting at home watching the 3 of you, I'm telling you.
Will we get to 200? That's the question. Will we get to 151? Not the way we question, probably more pertinent. Shannon McDonald's try. Watch for this. Dan Tola and Kurt Gidley. Gee, I want to wrap Kurt Gidley last night. And playing in the halves as well. In fact, I'd have him as the New South Wales 5'8". He was the Energizer Bunny last night, Kurt Gidley. And he just popped up everywhere. He directed the ship. His kicking game could improve a little, but everything else I think was spot on.
Bossy, there are times where Newcastle look as good as any team in the competition.
I agree. Yep.
They can't sustain it. They're not an 80-minute football team. I don't know what it is, whether they train hard enough or just mentally they're not capable. But there are moments in their games and patches of football that they play, they're as brilliant as any team in the league, in attack and defence. And then all of a sudden they just drop off in concentration.
It's an interesting point you make. About no. Well, now that I'm coaching a young team, under 15s, I'd like... I always say to them, we do everything through the week. If I've got to coach you on the weekend, well, I haven't done my job. Is that what you see with the Knights? Do you reckon that, in other clubs as well, if you haven't done it on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at training, well, no point coming to the game looking for instructions because you should do it all at training. That's what it's for.
It's the difference between a park cricketer and a test cricketer. A park cricketer can face a really fast bowler for a couple of balls, but he can't do it for 4 hours because he just hasn't got that mental ability to keep doing. It's the same as a lower grade player and a first grade player. Lower grade player can do the things a first grader can do, but he can't do it week in, week out, and he can't do it for 80 minutes. And the Newcastle side, for 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60 minutes a week, are as good as any team in the competition. So how do you get that out to an 80-minute stretch, and how do you get it every week?
Do you do more training?
That's the battle of the coach. Well, I don't see them train.
Yeah.
I don't see the intensity with which they train. You know, they're questions that can only be answered being around the place. But if he can stretch them out to 80 minutes a week, that's a serious football team.
Yeah, well, you're certainly not going to have to walk up the freeway, like you said at the start of the year, when every team was eligible. You said that if Newcastle won the wooden spoon, you'd walk the freeway.
It's the only good thing about the Melbourne Storm being taken.
You don't have to worry. We'd have to worry about your feet.
NRL may have issues with Brian Smith's assessment of referee Gavin Badger.
But he's slower than me.
And his assistant.
Tits on a ball, my dad would say. He was useless. He had no role in the game.
The Roosters had Jason Ryles sin-binned.
Rosie ran past him and said, "You're off your head, Gavin." And he put him in the sin bin.
But it mattered little in the end as Newcastle powered through the second half.
Here's Uate, he has a hat-trick.
To highlight something special from the Knights' flying winger.
Here's a short kick taken by Uate and Akuila.
Still on league, and the Knights' win over the Roosters has been soured by a number of injury woes. Also hurting the Cowboys after going down to the Warriors. Melbourne had another pointless win, while it was a victory for the understudy over the master in Newcastle.
Outplayed by his former team and outcoached by his former understudy, quite simply, Brian Smith was beaten at his own game.
You know, the game was just butt ugly, or from start to finish.
With the Roosters trailing 18-12, Jason Ryles mouthed off and was sent off. Smith blaming referee Gavin Badger for their loss.
Tits on a ball, my dad would say. He was useless.
With their sideline looking more like a casualty ward, Uate was the Knights' shining light.
Certainly. Oh, here's a short kick taken by Uate and Akuila.
There were several casualties from the Knights-Roosters clash. Evan Tuamavavi, Isaac de Goyce and Shannon McDonald from Newcastle and Lupini Taia for the Roosters. Beaten coach Brian Smith lashed out at the remodelled two-referee system, claiming they've lost control.
I'm not going to repeat it. I've got a microphone there.
The game was just butt ugly, or from start to finish.
Perhaps he missed Aku Uate. His hat-trick included this effort from a Knights kick-off in their 34-18 win. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Blues legend Andrew John says New South Wales finally has a team capable of ending Queensland's record-breaking run in State of Origin. And another boost for the Blues today, Timana Tahu saying he is all set to take on Greg Inglis.
Past fit today, Timana Tahu has an appetite for Greg Inglis. The Blues star says Inglis holds no fear for him.
Yeah, everyone saw in Inglis. You know, he's a good player. At the end of the day, I just got to worry about what I do and how I train. And that's how I've always prepared myself. You know, I don't really worry about other players.
Tahu's fitness means Jamal stays on the bench. The rookie is just stoked his hero is playing.
Just one of my heroes, you know what I mean? Like, the things he did for Aboriginal people, you know what I mean? It's like he gives us boost and he gives us confidence, you know, he's dual international, look at him.
At a lunch for former Origin greats, Andrew John said during his rugby days, Tahu would have been longing to test himself against Inglis.
In the back of his mind, I think he would have thought, you know, I'd love to play against him. Well, he gets his opportunity now on the biggest stage.
And John says we can finally stop the rot.
I think it's our best chance yet to beat this phenomenal Queensland team.
The Blues look very, very relaxed, don't they? It's a good sign. Now, almost forgotten in the build-up to Origin, this weekend's vital round of NRL matches. It kicks off tonight with the struggling West Tigers taking on Newcastle. Nine commentator Peter Sterling is on the sideline joining us live. And Sterlo, good evening to you. The Tigers have absolutely no excuses tonight.
They'll be desperate tonight, Cameron, facing 5 straight losses, but up against an inconsistent Newcastle team that will be looking to put their best foot forward as well. And joining us tonight is their coach, Rick Stone. And Rick, 50-10 last week, the Tigers beaten by South. Is that actually a bad result for you?
Yeah, probably may be. You know, I think the first 20 minutes is going to be important. See what sort of Tigers turn up, that's for sure.
What about your side? Yet to put consecutive wins together. How do you rectify that tonight?
Look, I think we've been building in the last 3 weeks. What we saw at Blue Tongue last week against the Roosters was a good step in the right direction, and I think we need to take a couple more tonight.
Now, the rain not here at the moment, but it is wet conditions. Does that change your approach at all tonight?
Probably not. You know, we were keen to play physical against the Tigers, and we think that's important to beat in the Tigers tonight, so it stays the same for us.
Well, thanks for joining us. Good luck for the rest of the season.
No problem, thank you.
And Cameron, the start of a big week of rugby league. Tonight we've got the Tigers up against the Newcastle Knights. Sunday we're down to Wynn Stadium, Dragons v Raiders, and of course next Wednesday, exclusively live on 9, State of Origin game number 1.
In 3D. Cannot wait, Sterlo. Thank you very much.
I'm here with the Fijian superstar, Akuila Uate. Disappointing tonight, Aku, but mate, you must be so stoked to be in first grade.
Mate, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm being happy this year. It's probably my great form. And yeah, I'm excited, mate. I'm disappointed on the loss today. So.
And what about playing against your hero tonight, Lottie Takiri? I know over the years you've always asked questions about him. What's it like to play against him?
Mate, exciting. I couldn't believe I'll be here, like, marking him. Since I was a kid, I always looked up to Uate and Nonandruku, and it's a great honour to play against him today. So
I saw him come up after the game. What did he say to you?
Mate, he just told me that I'm playing great football and I've got to keep it up.
Keep it up, mate. You're an excitement machine.
Cheers, mate. Good call out.
Yeah, really want to thank RQ and Benji for sticking around tonight. They just wanted to get to the sheds, and well done to both of those players.
Let's get some reaction from last night's match. Simon Wolford was at Newcastle for Super Saturday and another edition of Friday Night Sheds.
Benny, you guys really struggling for some consistency at the moment. It's win-loss at this stage.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Exactly what you don't want to be doing at the start of the season. Had a run of 4 losses in a row. We got back on track with a couple of wins, but as you said, win-loss, and it's just not a way to build a season. We just need to find some consistency. This was going to be a 4-point game for us with the bye. Now we have to sit around for 2 weeks and sort of mull over the loss and have a crack at Panthers down there, which is going to be tough.
Certainly no lack of effort from your guys tonight. I guess it was just a matter of the West Tigers playing a little bit better weather football than you guys.
Yeah, I think they just adapted to the conditions really well. They played a lot of unders plays and around the ruck and all that sort of stuff, and that played against us. We still wanted to shift the ball and sort of play a little bit prettier, I guess, instead of rolling up the sleeves and going through the middle like they did.
They came out in that second half and they were just turning the ball under, just working our middle over and kicking early, and I think that was a good lesson for us.
A new contract and a new bub during the week, so it's not all doom and gloom for you?
It is sleep-wise, but yeah, it's been very good. I'm very pleased. Mrs. had Harvey Monday night, the 17th, so very happy with that, and locked in another 2 years at the club, which is also very good.
Well, on the field now, and the West Tigers were so desperate to get their season back on track that they went into camp before last night's game against Newcastle, and it did the trick. They ground out a tough victory in the rain. It's their first since the 10th of April.
Finally happy Tigers after 41 days without a win and on the back of one of the worst defeats in club history.
I said after the game that we'd stick tight, we'd work our way out of it together, and we did.
With their season crumbling, the Tigers headed north a day earlier than normal and went into lockdown.
I think just to get them smiling again.
We sort of got into camp, really stuck together, and and had a few meetings in that.
But in Newcastle's driving rain, it didn't look good early.
Rogers steps neatly off his left foot, comes to the fullback, beats the fullback, and Rogers scores.
Their English imports squared it up at the break.
Gareth Ellis, oh, the runaway.
Conditions made things tough, but it was the Tigers staying patient for longer.
Chrissy Lawrence is over the line. It's a try for the Tigers.
Strength from Chris Lawrence, courage from Daniel Fitzhenry.
Oh, good shot across.
And a field goal from Benji Marshall.
Looked okay for mine.
Sealing the win, they iced it with a try in the final minute.
Well, he's been the architect and the mastermind.
Yeah, pretty happy with the performance. Can still get better.
They controlled the game really well, and it was hard to handle, I suppose, that avalanche of possession.
Paul Cochran for Sports Tonight.
Last night in Newcastle, conditions were appalling for fans and 2 Fijian wingers going head-to-head. Lottie Takiri stopped Uate from scoring. The Knights flyer returned the favour later in the first half. It was a night for the forwards, and Tigers enforcer Gareth Ellis felt right at home.
Oh, the runaway Englishman.
Gareth Ellis. I quite enjoyed it actually, but it's not good playing in the cold.
On a 4-game losing streak and coming off a humiliating defeat to Souths, Benji Marshall guided the Tigers to a 23-6 win.
Marshall goes in to score.
It's a big win, but again, we've got to back it up next week.
Uate didn't get the result. Still, it's a night he'll never forget.
Exciting. I couldn't believe I'll be here, like, marking him. Since I was a kid, I always looked up to Uate and Nonandruku, and it's a great honour to play against him today.
Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Gus, last one from Friday night. I know you mentioned it during the call. Uate versus Takiri. Kid against his hero, because Takiri, hailing from Fiji, captain Fiji at the 2000 World Cup. Uate, as a, impressionable teenager, comes up against him. Some lovely moments in this during the night of the battle.
I don't think it would be too often that any footballer gets to play against their hero.
Yeah.
The person you adopt as a hero when you're a kid is usually long retired if you ever get the luxury of playing first-grade footy. But in this game, I noticed that every time Lottie Takiri tackled Uate or they came together, Uate would get up and pat him, and you could see how excited he was to be playing against this legend in his mind of Lottie Takiri. I think it was great, and at the end of the game, they were actually out in the middle of the field there in the rain and having a chat, and Lottie was obviously giving him a lot of encouragement, and we interviewed Uate after the game, and he said what a great moment it was, and they're the special parts of the sport.
Good stuff.
Benny Cross, welcome to the show, pal. Mate, welcome. Now, OK, the colourful boots, tell us about them.
An idea came to me in the last pre-season. I wanted to do something for the local community up in Newcastle, and something that touched my heart was cancer. I had an auntie diagnosed with breast cancer and a father-in-law diagnosed with prostate cancer. Unfortunately, our coach Rick and my manager Steve Stone lost their father to prostate cancer. So I'm raising money this year across the season for Prostate Cancer Alliance in Newcastle and the Breast Cancer Foundation in Newcastle. So the goal is $100,000. We're well on our way. We're up around about 20,000 marks. I'm just taking donations and sponsorship per metre that I run across the NRL season, and all the details can be found at Newcastle Knight's website, and there's a link there for Cross Runs for Your Life.
Well done, Benny. Congratulations, pal. Test your buzzer, Ben. Righto, boys, here we go. There we go. Up the Knights. There we are, Cory Paterson. Now, here we go. Question 1. Which former Queensland Origin coach holds the record for the most seasons with a single club, as well as the most grand final wins? Which Queensland coach the most grand...
Bennett. Wayne Bennett.
Wayne Bennett is correct. Ben Mendelsohn. OK, on April 20 this year, there was an explosion on an offshore oil... What are you laughing at?
There's nothing funny about that explosion.
OK, which has resulted in a massive oil leak off the Gulf of where? Oh, Ben Mendelsohn.
It's in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's off Louisiana.
Mexico was enough.
Yeah.
Man of the people, Shane Webcke, score update.
Now, look, after the next Origin, it'll be Queensland 5 series victories, New South Wales 0.
Ah, fantastic.
Oh, stop. No, Benny Mendelsohn's leading.
OK, nice one. OK, musical question. Aston. Ah, Ben Mendelsohn, name that song.
I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
There we go.
Go on, mate.
Righto, and final question, mate, it's a landslide. In the first State of Origin match played in 1980, the captain of the Maroons was the great Arthur Beetson. Who skippered the Blues?
Arthur Knight.
Yes.
Rodonicus.
Tom Rodonicus is correct. That's all we've got time for, boys. Ben Mendelsohn, you are smarter than a footballer. You win dinner for two at the beautiful Bayview Boulevard. Super cheap auto, classic sportswear. And, mate, good luck with the move. Mate, it's yours. There you go. Jamal Idris, you're a star. Mate, good luck. Origin 2, pal. Oh, mate, can't win them all. OK, Ben Cross, good luck with the charity. Up the Knights.
Up the Knights.
Stay with us after the break. Much more.
Welcome back and welcome to our second studio guest tonight, fresh off the bye but ready to square up against the Panthers on Super Saturday. Cory Paterson, great to have you in. Cory, look, obviously the hot topic we were talking about earlier tonight, Israel Folau defecting to AFL. You actually got an approach from American football a few years ago. I guess the question I want to ask you is, how hard is it for rugby league players these days not to take interest in the lure of the big dollar, or maybe just a challenge outside of rugby league?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, mate. At the end of the day, it is a business, and you're not in this game for a long time. And Izzy's obviously made the decision for his family, for his future, and no one can blame him for taking that type of money.
Would you select him for Origin then?
I would. Yeah, I agree with Del, mate. I think he's still contracted to the end of the year. He's still a rugby league player now. I think Queensland should still pick their best side.
Mate, what do you think about the Indigenous side this year? I mean, a lot of those players have gone on this year. Joel Thompson, Travis Waddell.
We've got this one as well.
Oh, mate.
Every time you mention the Indigenous game.
Okay. But even for yourself, I mean, you played pretty well. You hurt Kirk Gidley. Yeah. Did you feel bad with that?
It was an accident, mate. I did feel bad. You know, he's a good mate of mine and obviously our team captain. And it was good I get to play with you, mate, and some other great players, and it's good that we got the win.
What did you learn from playing with the big Dell, mate? What did he teach you? What did he teach you in that week? He must have taught you something.
Self-confidence.
That's it.
What did you learn off some of the other senior players, though, that were in there, that have been there around for such a long time?
Gordy.
Yeah, Gordy, mate. He was great to have around the camp. Blokes like Scott Prince and Jonathan Thurston, just their leadership qualities. And mate, Preston Campbell, I don't think you can get a better bloke and someone better to play with. I just think, mate, he just oozes enthusiasm and love of the game, and I was very honoured to get to play with him.
Now you've had the taste of playing with all those players, obviously representative football. You'd love to play for country and play for New South Wales one day?
Oh, ideally one day, mate, but sort of after last year, I'm just sort of happy, mate, to be back playing footy and enjoying it and trying to get a win for the Knights at the end of the day.
What about the Newcastle Knights? It hasn't been a great start. I mean, you had the bye last weekend. You've got another month of football before your next bye. How important is this next month of football in terms of setting up your season and a possible finals?
Yeah, I think it's massive, mate. I think our home record's been poor this year, and we've got 2 home games in that 4-game stretch, and mate, we really need to start winning some games. Otherwise, you know, we might miss the boat. So this next month's definitely massive for our side.
Corey, I just wanted to touch on something you mentioned before. Obviously, you referred to last year, and that was your battle with depression. Where are you at with that, and how tough was the road back to playing NRL?
Yeah, it was tough, mate, mentally and physically. You know, I put on a fair bit of weight and I wasn't looking too good and I wasn't fit. But, mate, I'm flying at the moment. I'm the happiest I've ever been, you know. I've got a child on the way. I'm getting married, and life for me can't be much better at the moment. I'm enjoying my footy. And
what advice do you have for other players out there that may be going through a similar thing that you went through?
Mate, every case is different, and you got to judge on its own merits. I didn't want to lie to people. I wanted to be truthful to myself, and I didn't want people to look at me as if I was lying, saying why aren't I playing and things like that. So, in the day, I just want to be truthful to myself and my family and friends. And I had great support from the club, my family, friends, and that, which I was very grateful and thankful for.
Yeah, very courageous thing you've done, and it's great to see he's playing wonderful football, guys.
Yeah. Corey, just you've obviously got a bit of money in the salary cap there. How's talks going with Mark Gasnier? Has he been talking to the Knights lately?
Oh, I hope so, but I'm not too sure, mate. You know, he's obviously a class act.
Because you've got some good centres there, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. Adam MacDougall and Junior Sau are great centres, but I think this might be the Mad Dogs last year, and I think Mark Gasnier would be perfect to fill the Mad Dog shoes.
How is the Mad Dog going? Is he still talking to his legs and that, and talking to his arms?
He said to say good day, and that's so. He's going well.
He gave it to you last year, didn't he, Dill?
I was his nemesis.
Give it to you last year.
I was his nemesis. You know, Mad Dog, I'm all over you, okay? Like white on rice.
Here we go. Cooper Vuna made a decision the other day. He's going to go to the Rebels. Does that, from a player's point of view, does that affect how you prepare yourself for the next week's game or the rest of the season?
No, not with us, mate. You know, Coote's made a decision based on what's best for his family and his future and himself. And, mate, we're not going to blame the bloke for doing what's best for his family. At the end of the day, Coops is a great bloke, a great player, and as long as he's around playing for us, mate, we'll rip in for him, and I'm sure he'll rip in for us.
Yeah, you got McManus that's coming back now. He's been out virtually, I think it's around about 12 months since he's last played a game of football, so he'll be looking forward to getting on the field.
He will, yeah. Jimmy Mac's a quiet bloke, but very unassuming, and mate, he can play. And 12 months on the sideline has been frustrating for him, but he'll be a massive boost for our side. Just his professionalism, you know, he trains harder than a lot of blokes, and he's going to be great for us again.
Talking about frustration, how has your coach Rick Stone been? A rookie coach, he had 5 games at the end of last season, but he had a full pre-season with you and probably was expecting a lot more from the playing group. You've only won 4 games. How is he handling the pressure of not being successful straight away?
Yeah, mate, Stoney's a real good coach and a real good bloke, and you sort of feel bad letting him down because he is such a good bloke and a good coach, and a lot of the players we sort of take pride in our performance mainly for him as well, because at the end of the day, we've got to win for ourselves, but also the coach.
If I said, what's one area of your game you had to improve, not yours personally, but the team, what is it? What's been your major focus coming into, say, this weekend's game?
Consistency and concentration, I think. I think goes for me as well, mate. I think we're playing very good in patches and then pretty ordinary in some patches. So, mate, at the end of the day, if we can get consistent, I think we'll give it a shake.
Well, Corey, you have the Knights. The Knights play the Panthers this week at S.O.O Stadium. It was a game that you probably should have won in round 4. Has that game been spoken about in preparation this week? And what do you need to do this time to get the Panthers?
Mate, same thing, you know. We started well. We were leading by a fair bit at half time, and our second half was a bit ordinary, and lack of concentration let us down. And we've got to fix that if we're going to get a win this weekend.
I like your halves this week, Mullen and Gidley. It'll give you a real strike around that scrum base area, and with your halves, I really like that combination.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I agree too. We've sort of had a bit of a turnstile in our halves of late, and you know, hopefully if these two blokes can get a few games together, it might go a fair way in getting that consistency.
It's an interesting one, Gidley, in the halves. I know that there's been some speculation that he could move from fullback in New South Wales State of Origin. Is that something that you and the selectors will be looking at closely, Loz?
Oh, look, Kurt Gidley, I think we all know that he's a versatile player and can play any number of positions. One thing I know about Kurt Gidley, he'll give his all regardless of what position he's in. But I just think for Newcastle at the moment, he's the perfect fit to play in the halves with Jared Mullen.
Uate, he's a very exciting player, isn't he, the young Fijian there?
Yeah, mate, he's definitely an excitement machine. He's one of those blokes that always has a smile on his face. Doesn't matter what's going on in the world or what's going on with him, but he's always smiling, always happy.
He reminds me of someone, I don't know who though.
Probably Lottie. But Joey said to me 3 years ago, he goes, mate, you've got to watch this kid. He said he can do magical things on the field, and he sort of had a few injuries and didn't come through. And this year, the last season, he's been unbelievable.
Yeah, mate, we all knew what Akuila could do. I think he's still very raw. He still has a lot to learn, but on natural ability, I don't think there's anyone better in the comp than Akuila at the moment. So, mate, I love playing with him because of his enthusiasm, and you just don't know what's going to happen. You know, you get the ball in his hands, he'll either wind up or he'll step 4 blokes, or he's an exciting machine, and I really love playing with him.
And I heard Alistair Lynch say before, they were talking about these exciting players and the Polynesians and Fijian players, that Nick Natanui plays for West Coast, and that's a rugby league show, but this is what these players can bring to different clubs. So, yeah.
All right.
That was good.
Yeah.
Now,
Fantastic.
of course, Jamie Sauer brought in the headgear. That was confirmed by the boys that it was headgear. That wasn't what I was getting at before.
Sorry.
No.
Former Cleo Bachelor of the Year.
Now, are these, what are these? These socks or?
Yeah,
Socks.
Indigenous socks.
Well, I hope they're socks.
Indigenous.
Take us through these. Obviously, they meant a lot to you, Cory.
They did. This was these are the socks I wore in the Indigenous All-Stars game with a big Dell.
Yeah, bruh.
Yeah, bruh. And yeah, I thought these would be a good addition to the swag bag, and hopefully they get.
Fantastic.
They're washed, mate. They're clean.
Boys. Oh, they smell good.
Don't leave me out. Don't leave me out of the brush.
You went there, bro.
Don't leave me out of the brush.
All right, thanks very much, Cory. Best of luck this weekend against the Panthers. It's going to be another tough-fought battle, but the way it went last time, very realistically, you guys could get the points. Best of luck for season 2010.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers.
Cory Paterson, another special guest we've had tonight on a very busy NRL on Fox. Stay with us after the break. We're going to have all the tips and odds for round 13 as another massive week of league approaches on Fox Sports.
They've got 2 new staff this year as far as direct assistants in the NRL. Andrew Duneman's one, who's been a bit of a journeyman as a player, but has been coaching the Queensland Cup with the Northern Pride and had a fair bit of success. He's come along to help our attack and definitely be involved in our halves. And being a former halfback, I think he's added a fair bit to our game already, and I like to think he's been a real good choice. Craig Sandercock's a bloke who's been working at Manly for a long time under Des Hasler in various roles and with various teams, but had an influence over their first grade team over the last couple of years, and he's come in and he's going to be working on our defence a little bit more. But yeah, both coaches actually have fitted in really well, and I think the boys have really enjoyed a new lease of life as far as a different angle and a different approach to coaching.
Okay, just quickly look at Newcastle, Joey. Pretty much the best side they could name there last night. I want to say tough night for James McManus, but welcome back to the game. Been a really tough time for a bloke who played State of Origin last year. Kurt Gidley played at 7 with MacDougall at fullback. Is that the best combination? Do you think that's a long-term one for the rest of this season, that Kurt there and Jared at 5'8"?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the way Rick Stone is going to go into the future. Look, I think Kurt offers something at halfback, but not the way they attacked last night. They played with a lot of structure in that first half. That doesn't suit Kurt's game if he plays halfback. On a whole, I thought the Knights were really disappointing last night. I know they give themselves a really big hope of beating Penrith out there. They were right up for the game, and as you said, a lot of players back, nearly full strength. Yeah, it just wasn't good enough. He'd be very disappointed, Rick Stone. I think the players would be disappointed in their performance too.
All right, well, let's hear what was said down in the sheds after this one.
Coach, will it be a long second half of the season, or can the Knights turn things around?
Look, we need to, absolutely. It's getting to the time where we really need to string some wins together. First half, I think, not good enough. You know, when you're down 18 points in an NRL game, it's hard to come back from. Second half, a lot better, but probably same old story.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster year for us as a team, and you know, we do some good things some weeks and we get the result, but we let ourselves down in other weeks. So it is frustrating with some of our performances. Yeah.
You remember the hit Pt2 put on you?
Oh, I just remember catching the ball and then getting up off the ground. It was one of those, one of those ones you got to cop, and I'm probably pretty happy that I've copped it in my first game. It's allowed me to realise I'm back in the NRL again.
Now, Steve Simpson, I've had several phone calls from Newcastle this morning, just making the point, stressing the point that this knee injury is not going to end his career right now. They're going to give him all the time in the world. They expect him to play again this year, but they say he's been very, very loyal to them. They're going to be loyal to him. He needs to see a specialist this week, but they reinforced again that this talk of his career being over right at this point is very, very much premature. So there's a bit of injury news about.
At Penrith, Panthers halfback Luke Walsh put his former side Newcastle to the sword with his death kicking game. His captain Luke Lewis, meanwhile, was busy putting blue selectors on edge. Firstly with a spear tackle.
And then Lewis picked up Hilda.
Then a head clash which left him momentarily unconscious. While he escaped serious injury, his fate will be left in the hands of the match review committee. Adam Thompson for Sports Tonight.
The Panthers produced another clinical display to beat the Knights by 18 points.
Lewis gives it away to tie for the line. That could be the winner.
The Dragons remain outright leaders on the ladder, while the Rabbitohs and Cowboys play for their points tomorrow night. Ros Kelly, 9 News.
Pete, I know you've got a couple of Newcastle players there, and you take us through the games. It's back to you in the studio.
Mate, we will do. It'd be nice if you get some control up there. That just about sums up the footy show. Mario and Alan Robinson yelling at each other. I've got no idea what Spider-Man was doing in to the side there. Don't want to know. But yes, you mentioned the Newcastle Knights. Been some lean times for them of late. But two of their better players this season have been good enough to come down the F3 and join us tonight. Would you please, mate, welcome Cory Paterson and Uate. Now, I've got to start with you, Aku. We've finalised on this show a number of times some pronunciations. We've worked out whether it was Watmo or Watmao, yeah, yay, thigh day, tie day. Have I been calling you the wrong name? How do I pronounce your name?
It's Akuila.
Akuila?
Uate, yeah.
Akuila Uate.
Yep.
That'll be what it is from now on. All right. Now, Cory, you've won 4 from 12. Why the Newcastle Knights had such a poor season at the halfway mark?
Mate, I just think a bit of inconsistency, I think. We haven't been concentrating for the full 80 minutes, and you know we can be a very good side for 20 minutes and then be a very poor side for 20 minutes, and we just haven't been consistent enough.
Coach took over at the end of last season. He was a rookie coach. How different is Rick Stone now to what he was at the end of last season after 5 games?
Mate, he's still upbeat and still working very hard, and mate, you sort of feel bad, you know, losing games for him because he is such a good bloke and a good coach. And at the end of the day, mate, it comes down to us players and us getting a win for him, and we just haven't been doing a good enough job. Well,
you two have both been a shining light. I think you've played some great football. And Akuila, 13 tries already this season. You were born in Fiji. You played your junior football on the Central Coast. When did you come over? When did you start playing rugby league?
Came over in 2003 and lived with my dad at Central Coast at Woolwoy, and I started playing football there, so yeah. And
always been a speedster?
Always been, mate.
Always been quick.
Mate, we played you guys a couple of weeks ago up in Newcastle, and you came up against your childhood hero in Lottie Takiri. How big a night was that for you?
Mate, it was a big night, and I couldn't believe that I played against my idol, and it was a good night that night. So.
Mate, I hope you're proud of yourself. You've managed to score more tries in 12 games than I did in a career. You happy with that?
Mate, I'm really happy the way I'm playing this season, and it's been great.
I'm not sure if that's the side that was his side at the beginning of the season. I want to score more than Darryl.
It's not that big a rap, really, for you, mate. But anyway, mate, what about you guys? Like, you're normally at Newcastle, you've been really hard to beat there in the past, but this year it hasn't really been the case, Cory. Is it because they're changing the ground or renovating or something? What's doing there?
Yeah, I think the old change rooms, you know, they're helping the new teams with the new flash change rooms. But
best change rooms in the league.
Are the change rooms good for both, are they?
Yeah, they're awesome compared to the old ones that used to water down.
No, mate, it's a bit of a shame really because we have got such great supporters and great fans up there, and you know we haven't been performing for them. And this Sunday we get a chance to perform to them on a Sunday afternoon, which is generally a family type afternoon at the Footy in Newcastle. So we'll definitely be looking for a big one on Sunday.
Well, there you are, your favourites against the Warriors. That's Saturday afternoon. Sunday afternoon, actually. There's 2 games on the Sunday. Warriors got a pretty good record against you, but it's moving time for the Knights, isn't it? I think 3 of your next 4 games are at Energy Australia Stadium. Don't have a big representation with Coote going. So it may well be your season is defined over what you do over the next 4 to 5 weeks. Yeah, definitely. We've got 2 home games, then we go away, and then we got the bye, and then home again. So this next month and a bit is definitely going to shape our season. We can string a few games together. Well, then we might get a bit more confidence going to the back end of the year. But mate, if we don't win those games, well, then it's going to definitely be tough for the back end of the year. Okay, speaking of the back end of the year, there's a proposed fastest man in league race, which I think would be an absolutely magnificent promotion because we have such speedsters in our competition the last couple of seasons, especially this year. Now, I've been talking you up all season, Akuila. You're at $6 there behind Kevin Gordon and Brett Morris. I need you to run dead late in the season, limp at times, hobble around when you can. I need the $6 to be out to about $16 to get a little bit of value. It's a hot field, isn't it? What about, are you a 40-metre specialist, or are you as quick over 100 metres as possibly what you are over the short distances?
Mate, I think I am. It just depends how we, like on the start. If you get a good start, I reckon you get to 100, so it'd be sweet. All right, so if I get you to start at the same time as everyone else, would that be a good enough start for you? I don't think there's a reward involved, is there?
I'm sure we can work one out.
Well, are you looking forward to something like that? Would you like to pit yourself against the other guys in the competition to see who is the quickest?
Yeah. Mate, at the moment, I'm just concentrating on winning some games for Newcastle.
Yeah, I can say.
How dare you do that while we're trying to work out a reward?
It'll be good at the end of the season. I can't wait.
All right, we appreciate you coming down. Good luck against the Warriors. I hate using the word must-win, but it is a must-win game. There's a few of them coming your way. Now, you've also brought something down for us to put towards the special charity the NRL are putting together for the people of Lennox Head. Yeah, this is just a signed Knights jersey that all the boys have signed, and we like to give it to the people of Lennox Head and hopefully come in good use. Okay, that's wonderful stuff. All right, thank you very much to Cory Paterson and Akuila Uate, and there is the website number to go to, 9msn.com.au/footyshow. And all the jerseys will be signed and they'll look great up on your wall, and one of those will be premiers, and that will be worth plenty in years to come.
Well, it's a very big day for a local boy, Central Charlestown product Dan Toller, who will captain the Newcastle Knights for the first time today in the absence of Kurt Gidley, and I was lucky enough to catch up with Dan a short time ago. Well, Dan, congratulations. Great honour captaining the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, thanks very much. Always grew up in Newcastle, following the Knights to lead them out today. It's a big honour.
Very disappointing last week against Penrith. What has the side worked on this week to try and turn that form around?
Yeah, last week was very disappointing. So we come back to the drawing board on Monday, and our skill level was pretty bad last week. So we really worked on that, and hopefully we can improve today.
Very big one today against the Warriors. Yeah,
it's a must-win game today. We haven't got the wins on the board that we thought we'd have by now. So to kick-start our season today, and to make the finals, we have to really put in a good performance today.
What do you expect from the Warriors? What do you have to try and stop from their game?
Most teams have been coming scoring tries through our middle and that, so I think like every other team, they'll be coming through our middle, and we have to plug the gaps and stop them from doing that.
Dan Toller captaining Newcastle today, a great honour for a local product. They love the league in Newcastle, they love their local boys, and Dan Toller was very nervous, very excited when I spoke to him earlier, and we wish him well today because the forwards really have to muscle up for Newcastle. It's been an area where Dan just mentioned a lot of teams have been going through the middle, and it would be hard for a front rower to say that about the opposition targeting an area he is in.
Yeah, absolutely. That is their problem area. And going forward, their run meters have been, I think, right down near the bottom of the NRL. So they're just their go forward. The base they're establishing for their team each match isn't good enough either. So, look, a big day for him. His role doesn't change. he's done the toss. He might make a couple of decisions on whether they kick for goal or not, but his role doesn't change in that he just has to dig in and do a lot of work, and he averages around 40 minutes a week, and he'll get the job done.
We mentioned how important today's game is. If we have a look at the NRL ladder halfway through round number 14, it gives you an indication of where these two teams sit, the Warriors and the Newcastle, just 2 points separating them. The Warriors currently in 11th, Newcastle down in 14th, and of course with North Queensland's win last night, it does mean that Newcastle is level on 10 competition points with the Bulldogs, Knights and North Queensland, and they will want to win today to stay in touch with that top 8.
Absolutely, and there's plenty of reason there for the Warriors as well to try to get up closer to the top 8. Look, we said it last week, you're not that far away, are you? If you've had 3 or 4 wins, you're not that far away if you can string a couple of wins together. We saw the Raiders last week. It pushed them up just outside the 8. Obviously, last night's loss to the Cowboys didn't help, but you win they win today, they win next week, and things just start to happen for you. So if you're down near the bottom of the table, you're still a hope.
Time to head back downstairs again this afternoon. Renee Gardner has caught up with a very special guest from Newcastle.
Thanks, Mark. Well, I'm with injured Knights player Steve Simpson. Steve, you've been battling with a chronic knee injury most of the year, but you've gone in for an operation this week. Was that a tough decision?
Probably not at the end. I was getting fairly sore, so I needed something done to continue, I suppose, playing on this year. So, yeah, had to clean up, and it's feeling pretty good at the moment, which is good.
And what was the end result? Have they told you how many weeks you'll be seeing on the sidelines?
Should be back in sort of roughly a month or just over, I think. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to get back and doing a little bit of training and see how it goes.
Tough test today for the Knights, obviously coming off a loss against Penrith last week. What's the message going into today's game?
We just really need to, I suppose, get rid of the silly errors and the penalties in our game. So, yeah, need to sort of be a little bit more patient and build a bit more pressure. So, fingers crossed the boys can do it today.
Thanks very much for today.
No worries, Renee. Cheers.
Steve Simpson there with Renee Gardner, and they have really struggled in the forwards this year, of course, with the dramas off field for them before the season started, and to lose players with injury consistently as they have has not been good for Newcastle.
And they'll be very happy, the Warriors. This is a tough road trip. That man, every time he touches the ball, just get it to him more often. Akuila Uate.
Yeah, some games you just get a lot of opportunities. They started the first break of the game and down his left touch line, and he was just dynamic. He was dynamic every time he got hold of the football. Just not often enough, though.
Let's head back downstairs to Simon.
Well, Wes really needed a win at home today as far as your season was concerned, but just come up a little bit short.
Yeah, we did, mate. It was disappointing. Again, we beat ourselves just with the execution and stuff like that. It's disappointing, but yeah, we've got to just look towards next week now.
You would have liked your chances in the second half, but come up with crucial errors at crucial times. Didn't really make the most of the limited opportunities you got in that second half.
Yeah, exactly. Probably, I think our last plays hurt us in that second half. Couldn't get to the end of a set and could have just trying to look for magic plays, not trying to get repeat sets and stuff, and it hurt us, mate.
Couple of special plays from Akuila Uate. He's certainly a great player, isn't he?
Yeah, mate. He's someone you can turn to. You can turn anything to something out of nothing. But yeah, again, we come short, so it doesn't matter.
Thanks, Wes. Hard luck today.
Cheers, mate.
A disappointed Wes Nagama there, and you can understand that as the Warriors will be taking the 2 competition points. 32-24 victors over the Newcastle Knights. A break, and we'll come back and wrap up NRL Sunday.
We've done a few Newcastle games this year, and we've got a few more to come. And I tell you, if Akuila Uate gets the ball more than he did today, I hope that's the case, because every time he gets the football, it is just wonderful to watch. You just don't know what's going to happen. That was his first touch of the football. He is just a player, and they come across.
Well, that was his second touch.
Yeah, they come along very rarely. That you just love watching him play.
Oh, look, he's got wonderful skills, super quick. And backs himself all the way, and just, he can finish. He's got a good hit. When he takes the ball from the kickoff and hits it into the line, I don't know of anyone that hits it with the same power and speed that he does. So he's an excitement machine, but he also is a very reliable player on the wing for the Knights too.
Yeah, shy young man too, Akuila Uate. We're going to find out how shy he is, because he's speaking a short time ago with Simon Walford.
Well, Akuila, disappointing from a team perspective, but you must be really happy with your own form.
Mate, I'm really happy with my footy this year, and it's been great. And I'm just a bit disappointed at the loss today. So,
try number 14 today. You had a hand in another one. The team has struggled for consistency throughout the year, but you seem to have been able to keep your game at the high level for the whole year.
Yeah, mate, I'm just trying to be consistent every week and just keep playing how I'm playing.
Cool conditions today. I don't say you'd like them too well.
Mate, it's all right. It's not too bad.
Thanks, Achille. Hard luck today. Better luck next week. Cheers.
There he is, a young player with enormous potential, enormous promises. We have a look at the ladder. Of course, the Broncos and South Sydney playing this afternoon in Brisbane. And Monday Night Football, Melbourne and the Roosters still to come. But you can see how important this game was for Newcastle. They're now just on 10 competition points with the Bulldogs and North Queensland, whereas the Warriors find themselves equal on 14 points with Brisbane, who are currently in 8th position. But of course, they are playing this afternoon. So it was a big one today for them. And the Warriors, with the bye next week, it was a big afternoon for the Warriors today, and Newcastle have got some work to do. They play Parramatta in Monday Night Football next week.
Well, on the field, the New Zealand Warriors have upset the Knights in Newcastle this afternoon. The teams traded tries for a 12-all half-time scoreline. Then they were locked at 18-all before Warriors Colt hero Manu Vatuvai crossed for his second. A Knights error sealing their fate minutes from time.
An awful pass from Matt Hilda, picked up by Joel Moon. He then pops it back to Maloney, and Maloney will score the try that wins the game for the Warriors.
Maloney finished with 16 of the Warriors' 32 points.
The game was there for both sides, honest, to be won. And, you know, we weren't good enough to sort of finish it off. You know, the same old for us, close enough, but, you know, not quite there.
Like, everyone writes us off all the time anyway, so I'm not going to come in here and win by 8 points and then, you know, give it back.
What a game. Monday Night Football comes to you from Newcastle, where their skipper is looking to put the Origin Blues behind him. He's going to take on Timana Tahu, who's back on the field for the first time since walking out of the New South Wales camp. It is the Knights and Eels, a massive live Monday Night Football. It is going to be an absolute beauty.
Rick, you've dropped several players, others are now on notice. What's been the response on the training paddock?
Yeah, it's been a good week, absolutely. There's no doubt that the players have shown us that they want to improve, and, you know, it's up to them to prove it on the park.
What's been worked specifically in the 8-day turnaround?
Oh, look, we've had a little bit of a break, both mentally and physically, and also obviously working on stopping Parramatta's offloads. If we can do that and possibly handle Jared Hayne or minimise his impact in the game, it'll be a big help.
Final address to the players, what will it focus on?
I think it'll focus on a maximum effort and concentration for 80 minutes. That's important. Given the conditions, it's going to be tough, and there's possibly going to be some errors around. So minimising those and making sure that our effort is 100% for 80 minutes is important.
We wish you the best.
Thank you.
OK, we've spoken offence, let's talk defence. The Eels have conceded 37 tries, the Knights have conceded 60 tries so far this year. That's where the difference in these two sides has been so far in 2010. It is bucketing down here, it is freezing here, and I'm still trying to figure out a way to keep warm.
I like how you make a tough job so much easier, Andy Raymond. Up there for thinking. Well done, mate. After the break on Monday Night Football, we'll take an in-depth look at where tonight's match will be won. It could very well be on the back of the Knights' Mr. Natural. There's another fella that's not talking about out there at the ground tonight either, in Laurie Daly, New South Wales selector. But we're not talking about Origin, we're talking about tonight's Monday night clash between the Newcastle Knights and Parramatta Eels. It's a very good evening to Warren Smith, Greg Alexander and Laurie Daly, who won't mention the O word was.
No, we'll let him off the hook for this week, but next Monday night, look, our boys will pick the team for Game 3. It'll be on in spades down in Canberra next Monday night. I have no doubt about that, loss. For the moment, though, let's talk about the Knights, of course, and the Eels. And for mine, well, if the Knights are to even threaten to contend to make the top 8 this year, Brandy, they have to make this is a grand final for them tonight. Rick Stone has reacted to the poor form over the last couple of weeks. He sacked 4 players from the team that went down to the Warriors. it's a pretty serious situation for them right here.
Desperate times for Newcastle up here, you're absolutely right. And when you have a look at their season, it's a tale of woe. 4 wins so far this season, but what makes it worse, they've only had 1 win here at Energy Australia Stadium. The fans have deserted them. There was only 10,000 turn up here on Sunday afternoon against the Warriors. They saw another loss. They've lost their last 3 matches, and it has been a number of changes. They've been unsettled in the halves so far this year. Dureau drops out of that side that were beaten by the Warriors. Ben Rogers comes in at 5'8". They've made a number of changes to their starting side. He wants to see some good football, and we haven't seen much of it from the Knights this year.
No, somebody who can certainly play some good football for the Newcastle Knights is Cory Paterson, and here he is speaking with Andy Raymond.
Half-season report card, Cory. How do you rate the Knights after 14 rounds?
Yeah, mate, not too crash shot. I think our consistency and our just our overall concentration in games and for the whole series of the season hasn't been too crash shot. But hopefully we can start rebuilding for this week and then a bit of run home to the finals.
Pressure on the halves. Several players vying for the 6 and 7 jersey. Is it fair to say none have really stood up and dominated as yet?
Yeah, I think Mullo's, the incumbent at 6 or 7, and I think he's just waiting for a partner to step up. And both Benny Rogers and Scotty Dureau have both shown glimpses, and Gids has played there too. But it just puts down the consistency that none of us are really showing at this stage.
What has to improve tonight?
Just what I've pretty much said. The consistency, and mate, just playing for the full 80. Para a great side, and it's pouring down rain, and it's probably going to help us a bit with our offload. So if we can nullify a bit of that, we should be a fair chance tonight.
All right, they've got the penetrometer reading in at Newcastle. Let's go back to our race caller and Warren Smith. Warren, the penetrometer reading, is it a heavy 10 there at Newcastle tonight?
Yes, right as they move up behind the barriers, I can tell you it's about a heavy 9, maybe a heavy 10 by the time we get the green light here in the bunny up of the boxes. For mine, I think the Newcastle Knights are going to give them a massive, massive scare, but I think Parramatta might just squeak home tonight.
Okay, in conditions like this and the rain is still falling, it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen and who it's going to affect. I'll go back to the game that Junior just highlighted when we watched some of Jared Haynes' highlights out of the round 10 game against Manly. It was played in slippery conditions. The Eels didn't rely on their second phase play. They played with plenty of commitment. I think we'll get an Eels outfit that does that tonight. Eels for mine.
Yeah, I'm looking at the last game that Parramatta played against the Melbourne Storm. I thought it was their best performance of the season. I think if they can replicate that form, they'll have too many points in them tonight for the Newcastle Knights.
All right, boys, good calling. Let's go down to a very wet sideline eye and Andy Raymond. Who are you going with, Andy?
No, let's stay up in the commentary box with a very smart Andy Raymond. It is pouring out there. I'm not going out there until I have to. 40th meeting between these two clubs, 19 apiece and the draw. I think the Eels are going to be too good tonight and a good one.
Hard enough, Andy. Get down there.
He's funny,
he is funny. I think he's like some blokes think that they're funny, but he's funny.
He's funny. He's funny. What are we going with tonight, Gordy?
Oh, look, the Knights haven't won for a month of football, so I can't tip them. I just think that the Eels will be too strong, just on the back of Jared Haynes' big, long kicking game.
I'm going with the Eels too. I think they'll be too strong up there. I think they've got more to play for.
I'm nervous. I'm going the Eels. We don't do free spins on the pokies. We know what happens when we get free spins. It means we get it wrong.
Correct. So I am going against the grain. I'm going to go for the Knights because I just got a feeling. I have a feeling that the Knights...
Tonight's going to be a good night.
Good night.
Let's have a look at TAB Sports Bet. How are we going? All right, the Knights are outside us $2.40. Wiz, do you think it'll be a 1 to 12 for our man who's trying to win 90 grand?
I am going for that man there to win 90 grand on TAB Sports Bet at 1 to 12.
Rip up your ticket, mate. Rip up your ticket.
First try scorer, I'm going to go Jared Haynes, first try scorer at $13. What are you boys tipping here?
Joel Reddy.
Jeff Robson.
Luke Burt for me.
There we go. All right, it's going to be a terrific post-game show as well. We've got more of Wiz's comeback, so make sure you stay along for that. The Fox fan phone as well. Were you there yesterday? And we'll, of course, talk about what's been a great round of NRL. But we've got a great game about to kick off at Energy Australia Stadium. It's the Knights and the Eels. Let's cross back to a very wet Energy Australia Stadium and rejoin the team.
Boy, it is a wet old night right here in Newcastle. At home, of course, this year, the Knights, well, they've been flat out terrible, and that has had an effect on a club with a proud history and one of the strongest supporter bases in the game.
In their first grand final, fans partied wild has pledged the ultimate allegiance.
They're the number one fans in the comp and they're showing.
Almost 15,000 fans.
We don't survive without you guys.
They're playing soccer, aren't they?
If they don't win this week, yeah, that'll probably be the end of the season for me.
They're not going real well, especially their home games.
I'm a bit disappointed with the team.
I have lost faith. We're battlers, so we'll fight back. What's doing?
What's doing?
What's doing?
What's doing?
Come on, Knights. What's doing, boys?
Special goal. We've got a thriller. I'm looking forward to this match. The Footy player of the competition. There'll be some sort of atmosphere here tonight. So much work during a game of football. Don't you love it? The big guns come out to play. The ball movement.
He's an absolute freak. They just can't stop him. Oh, and boy, haven't we got a finish coming up now. What a run.
It's the Knights and the Eels on Monday Night Football.
It is just about do or die tonight for the Newcastle Knights here at home at a wet Energy Australia Stadium. Boy, what an evening we have here. The rain very heavy at times. We'll wait and see how it affects the scoring in this game tonight. The Newcastle Knights with just 4 wins from 13 games coming into this one. As we just heard from some of their loyal fans, they are desperate to see their team fire up tonight.
And it's Junior S.O.O who takes it across the sideline, the man who scored the try to give them a chance to win it. And it was the kick by Kirk Gidley. It was Andrew Johns-like. You can give him no higher praise right here at this particular venue. Newcastle 6 have beaten Parramatta 4.
Wow, what a win to the Knights. We spoke about how important it was for them to get a victory here. Only their second win at Energy Australia Stadium so far this year. And at the back end of the game, they didn't look like getting the result, but then a little bit of luck off a kick and a Kirk Gidley shot from the sideline. Great stuff. The Eels they'll be scratching their heads how they let that one slip after really controlling the footy game when it counted. Missed their opportunities, and the Knights get them on the bell.
Well, if they make a run to the finals from here and challenge for the top 8, this will be a defining moment in their 2010 season. They looked beaten despite the score only being 4-0 with a couple of minutes to play, but they clutched one from the absolute fire at the death. Let's go downstairs to Andy.
And here's a bloke with a smile on his face, and we haven't seen it all that often. Wow.
Yeah, certainly a big relief. It's nice to have a smile on my face, as you say, instead of it being all doom and gloom, I guess.
Run us through the first hour. It was just drop ball after drop ball and no points.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be disappointing and to be a spectator, I suppose. It must be tough to watch when we drop a lot of ball and I suppose to be the coach, but I'm really proud of the way we didn't give up right till the end.
Did you think you were still in it? Because Para, it seemed, trying to shut up shop a little.
Well, I mean, they went for goal, which was probably an indication that they wanted to probably get that extra 2 points and probably finish the game off. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the boys, the way they didn't give up for the whole game. We pushed ourselves, and defensively I thought it was probably our best effort.
Over the last couple of years, we've seen a Hazamel Masri goal from down that end of the field. Every year, every highlights package. Run us through that one. That is something special.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be the one delivering, I guess, that blow instead of being on the end of it. So I'd like it not to come down to that situation too often, but great to get a win there.
Congratulations, bud.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Well, he deserves the congratulations after that tonight, Kirk Gidley. Newcastle come up with their equal lowest scoring win of all time. You have to go back to 1995 when they beat the Sharks by the same margin, 6 points to 4. Junior S.O.O, a try off the back of a kick. We had to look at it. 83 different replays it took, but it was all good. Newcastle come up with their 5th win of the season. We will take a break and come back to talk about all this in a 1-hour pre-game show and an amazing game of rugby league here tonight on Monday Night Football.
Let's get some reaction from the Knights now. Rick Stone and Kurt Gidley and their youngster, Joel Edwards.
Rick, has the heart rate gone down a great deal from the first 77 minutes to the last 3?
Yeah, a little bit, that's for sure. You know, it was sort of win that took a long time coming. You know, we made plenty of errors. It wasn't pretty, but it was one for belief, I reckon. You know, the boys had spoken about a lot during the week, and obviously where we were and what position we were in. But, you know, at the end, they believed they could still get there, and it showed.
Did you believe they could still get there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You get down to that situation and you don't get out of it very often, but every now and then you get out of it, and whatever, you're still in the game, and you know, you're a chance getting down there. I always thought there was a try, and particularly a try from a kick was a chance, and that's how it eventuated.
You must be happy with the resolve with the boys played. It's like probably the most determined effort all year, especially with goal line defence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, there was no doubt about that. There was plenty of that. You know, like I said, I think we made 20 errors to their 11. Not very often you make 20 errors and win an NRL game. There's no doubt about it. But I challenged the players a little bit to support our skipper. You know, obviously he plays like that every week, and obviously things haven't been the world's best for him in the last 2 weeks. But they really supported him and rallied around him tonight. And I think Gids put the icing on the cake when he banged it over from the sideline into the sou'wester. So you know, it was a fitting result.
Is that the sort of win that can maybe turn things around for the season?
Yeah, I don't know about the season, mate. You got to string a couple together to turn around for the season. But you know, it's the sort of things that we want to stand for. You know, what we saw tonight, even though the errors weren't the sort of things that you want to stand for, but the resolve, the commitment, you know, the relentlessness, and probably the belief in the end that we could still get there. And it was a tough game of footy, tough conditions, and you know, we're the first to admit we didn't play that flash in attack, but you know, the intent was very pleasing.
Can you talk us through that last kick, mate? Like you've seen Joey kick a few of them through his career, and some pretty exciting finishes. Glad to put one over yourself.
Yeah, it's nice to put one over myself. I've been on the wrong end of it once, been on the right end of it with Joey kicking it, but yeah, it's nice to knock it over. To get a win like that, it was a tough win, probably a messy one and a scrappy one to watch, but yeah, pretty happy with the result in the end.
There's quite a bit of noise behind it from the Parramatta supporters. Did you feel that, or were we just focused on the kick?
Oh no, I think, you know, as a kicker you always, you know, sort of practice for those sort of situations and, you know, approach it like any other kick, and that's what you train for. So
Kurt, it wasn't always looking like it was going through. It sort of came in late, didn't it? Moved one way and came back late.
Yeah, well, I mean, it come off the boot all right, I guess, and there was a bit of a breeze coming into it, but yeah, I mean, it's a big relief for it to go over, and I was pretty proud of the way all our boys just never gave up right till the end, and that's probably the most satisfying thing to come out of it.
From the end of the game back to the start of the game, a fired up Timana Tahu, and you had to get in, and you were reasonably close to it. He let it go tonight, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he had to blow off some steam, but you know, none of our team were involved in anything that happened a week and a half ago, and you know, I don't think it was probably warranted for our blokes.
Congratulations to Kurt Gidley tonight. A nice finish for he and his Newcastle Knights side. Welcome back to the post-game show on Monday Night Football. If you've just joined us, the match was decided by a kick, and it was an absolute beauty from Kurt Gidley tonight from the sideline with less than 2 minutes on the clock to give the Knights a 6-4 win. Now, it's not the first time we've seen a Knights side win with the sideline conversion. We'll go back to 2003. That man, Joey Johns, round 14, the Knights and the Dragons. Oh, that's just outstanding. Great kick from it.
That was from exactly the same spot, I reckon.
Exactly the same spot. Andrew Johns. He says outstanding a lot, Andrew Johns, and that was an outstanding kick. There you go.
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
He's got a deep voice, Jason. I'm like,
he does.
It's outstanding.
He was an outstanding player, Joey Johns, and that was a great finish tonight for the Newcastle Knights. Welcome back to Monday Night Footy. A win tonight for the Newcastle Knights, only just 6-4 the final scoreline. Cory Paterson getting the 3 votes over Kirk Gidley. And yes, Justin Paul was very good for the Parramatta Eels as well. As we have a look at the leaderboard, and Darius Boyd is on top. But look at little Lachlan Coote. He's made a bit of a run over the last few weeks, and I reckon you could do worse than throw a few bucks on Sam Thaiday.
Thaiday.
He's big odds at the moment.
We have Thai for dinner tonight.
All right, boys. Well, it's... and you thought Junior's joke was bad.
Oh, well, at least you laughed at my joke.
No, but I just think you're funny. All right, 6-4 was the final scoreline tonight for the Newcastle Knights. No Gordon Tallis next week on Super Saturday, so the dream team won't be so dreamy.
I'm going to take over.
I tell you what, and we are doing the South game live from Perth. Feels like.
I'm going to miss you, mate.
Are we?
Oh, I tell you.
What do you mean we're doing it live from Perth? I thought, hey?
We're not doing it live.
What? What are you talking about?
Junior.
Where are you at?
I'm just on another planet, but I thought
you were telling me something I didn't know.
I thought we were going till midnight on Saturday.
I think
we are. But we're live from the studio. We're not live from the studio.
The game's live from Perth, though.
Yeah, but there's a game in. So where's the first?
Good night. Oh, good night, everyone. Hopefully, we'll see you next time.
This has been a Fox Sports production for the National Rugby League Partnership.
Also, Timana Tahu triggers a couple of blues, ending his hopes for Origin 3.
Went on, and then Tahu's just thrown the left.
Timana Tahu's Origin 3 hopes are over after he accepted a 4-match ban for a high tackle. The Eels centre was today adamant his fiery performance against Newcastle had nothing to do with the ongoing race saga with Andrew Johns.
A much calmer Timana Tahu this morning, confident there wasn't much in his high shot on James McManus and eager to play in Origin 3.
It wasn't intentional. I wasn't meant to, come in with the swinging arm and, hit the wrong place. And, if he hit his rib or anything like that, I would have been still playing football.
The match review committee didn't see it that way. An hour after his media conference, they slapped him with a Grade 3 high tackle charge. Late this afternoon, Tahu accepted his fate, pleaded guilty and will now sit out the next 4 weeks. He also denies his behaviour at the start of the game had anything to do with the Andrew Johns saga.
Yeah, it was a big week, to the build-up of the game, but it didn't really matter if it was Newcastle or not.
Johns has apologised over the phone for his racial slur at Origin camp, but still wants more mediation.
I've got so much respect for him as a player and as a person, so let's hope once we sit down and talk face-to-face, we can shake hands at the end of it and move on.
That's unlikely to happen soon. First, Tahu wants to sit down with the league's Indigenous Council. But the council has problems of its own. 10 News understands some members are furious about a push from within to make Johns their ambassador against racism. A source says it's a move more about redeeming Johns' image than tackling racism. Victoria Murphy, 10 News.
Ken's in South Africa next with sport, and Ken, there's plenty of fallout from Timana Tahu's explosive return to footy.
Pete, it's prompted an angry response from his Origin teammate Kurt Gidley, and now Tahu's facing a lengthy stint on the sidelines. It's rugby league first, and an ugly rift has developed between former Origin teammates Timana Tahu and Kurt Gidley, following Tahu's aggressive tactics in Newcastle's win over the Eels last night. Tahu is poised to accept a 4-week ban for his tackle on James McManus.
The man they call T was in no mood for talking last night. On the field, he was more like TNT. In an explosive start, he ironed out McManus, and he was looking for more. The refs decided a stint in the sin bin was needed. The Knights were fuming about his conduct.
I'm not sure whether our guys were warranted for that aggression. So, no one in this team's done anything wrong by T, and he probably needs to remember that. You can cop it when players are injured in situations, but not when it's deliberate.
The NRL agreed with Gidley. Tahu is facing a long stint watching on.
4 weeks, is that a heavy go?
Yeah, well, I thought so.
The Eels star says it was not a deliberate shot and McManus wasn't his target.
It wasn't personal against McManus. You know, he copped a lot of it, but that was just the way I played.
The racism scandal is clearly affecting Tahu. He worked hard before the match to clear his head.
You know, the stance that I'm taking is it does take a toll on you, and you know, it's taken a toll on my family as well. You know, I've had sleepless nights.
A meeting with Johns is being pushed, but he has another date to keep.
Got a board meeting with the Indigenous Council on Thursday, so, and the Human Rights Commission as well.
And for the first time, Tahu has explained why he didn't speak up against Johns earlier in his career.
As a young kid, you look up to older players like Andrew Johns, and when you're 18, you know, 17, 18, you're trying to crack it in first grade, it's hard.
Danny Weidler, 9 News.
Timana Tahu denies his fight against racism caused him to lose the plot in the loss to the Knights. The Eels Centre accepted a 4-week ban for a swinging arm, which means there's no state of origin selection dilemma for the Blues.
While the Eels went for a swim, it's Timana Tahu who's been given time to cool off after he almost took off James McManus's head.
Has he lost his head?
Tahu was charged with a Grade 3 reckless tackle.
4 or 5 weeks, gee.
Can you believe
that?
Ooh. Yeah, that's not good news for us.
It could have been worse. The very next tackle, Tahu tried to take out Ben Cross and he erupted against his old teammates again.
He's an aggressive footballer and sometimes, you know, when emotions get the better of you, sometimes things can boil over the top.
You know, he's an aggressive player, so, you know, we thrive off that sort of stuff.
But they didn't thrive as Tom Humble's fumble saw the Knights score out wide, and then skipper Kirk Gidley landed the winner from the sideline. He hits it, let's go! Tahu lucked out there, but won't back down on his fight against racism.
Yeah, I think it's a fight I've got to have. You got to take a stance on racism. If we don't address this, then you know the world's going to leave us behind. And
the NRL's answer to addressing the player drain is an increase of just $250,000 for salaries next year. Patrick Mollahan, 7 News.
So the Dragons remain alone on top of the ladder with 4 of the top 5 in action this Friday night. The Eels blew their chance to rejoin the 8 against Newcastle last night, and it's still looking very grim for the Bulldogs.